over here. Why did that happen, Mochi? Can you explain this to our loyal, loving audience? You're gonna get my lipstick so full of cat hair, aren't you? What a sweet little bubba cakes. Farewell. Look, we had to start with some mochi text because I want to get right into it today. Okay? We got business. Look at me, webcam. We've got business to attend to. Thank you to everyone for using your mochi emojis as you ought. Hello, chat? Uella! What is this? Why is it not showing up? There we go. Oh, I'm so relieved. Don't worry though, everyone else. Dylan, you get first comment of the day, Neuroped's dad second. And then finally, Folger, you were our third, and happy birthday to you. Dadvocate stream for my birthday. Happy birthday! Okay. Yes, come on in. Get nice and comfortable. Settle in, grab your coffee, grab your tea. Welcome or welcome back to another Dadvocate stream. Ooh, that's bright. My sensitive eyes. Okay. What we do here is we try to keep it predominantly audio only friendly here. So if you want to listen while you're at work, walking around chorin', taking your dogs out, whatever you want to do, this is not a visual heavy reliant stream. And if we do watch anything, which we are going to watch a few things today, I will be doing my best to kind of visually describe to you what is going on for all of the YouTube watchers if you just want to listen. Here at the Dadvocate live stream, we tend to talk about things like parenting, relationships, and all the drama that comes in between, but sometimes we talk about other stuff. Today, though, we're staying pretty on topic with parenting and relationships because today we are covering a viral story that has kind of swept up the whole internet in its web. But here's the thing. Whatever you think you might know about this story, I can almost wholeheartedly assure you that I will be introducing you to new information today that may change your mind on it. So what are we talking about today? Today, we are going to be talking about the drama involving 3, arguably 4, arguably 5, a number of characters, but the main 3 being a man named Brett Fairley, a woman named Maria Wynn, and another woman who is a very famous TikToker who you may know. And a lot of you already know who I'm talking about, but just for a little bit of surprise factor, I'll leave that part out for now. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. I am going to pull up.
This is the story.
The original video that started it all. Let me just go ahead, line it all up nice and neat for y'all. Okay. This is the video that launched 1,000 ships, so to say. This is the video that really went viral and blew this whole thing up. It has since been scrubbed from the internet, so I really had to do a lot of work to kind of put all the pieces together here, and we may be getting more pieces as the stream progresses. I don't want to say anything I can't promise, but your girl may have a couple connections to this story, okay? So let's just start at the beginning. This is a man named Brett Fairley. Before this last month, the internet didn't really know him, but this video changed everything. to our visual, or I mean, sorry, to our audio only folks, we see this character Brett on screen, and the text overlay reads, I agreed to get an older woman pregnant, and she tried to ruin my life. Okay, let's just jump right into it.
This is the story of me agreeing to get an older woman pregnant and then her trying to ruin my life. When I was 23, I had a one-night stand with a girl from my hometown named Maria. We both knew it was nothing more than that, and we didn't speak after. Several months later, I received a text from her saying that she hadn't been lucky in love and she wanted a baby before it was too late. So she asked if I would get her pregnant and I wouldn't have to bear any responsibility, like a sperm donor. I considered it, and I first thought no, but after some time to think about it, I thought it'd be the right thing to do for someone struggling. So we filled out an ironclad agreement, and basically I wouldn't be responsible at all. A while later, she told me she was ovulating, and then a few weeks after that, she told me she was pregnant and it had worked. I went back to California for work, and we didn't speak after that. Unbeknownst to me, she contacted my family behind my back and invited them to the baby shower.
All right, I just want to take a brief pause here to kind of go over again what Brett is describing here. And literally everything wrong with it, gentlemen. Okay, so this man is contacted by, in his words, this much older woman. I believe the age differences here are, he is in his early 20s at this time. This woman, Maria, is in her early 30s. Okay, she contacts him. She says, Brett, I want to be a mom. Please make me a mom. And this man goes, okay. Now, dear reader, dear listener, dear viewer, if you are listening to this man's story and not a single part of you goes, well, that was kind of fucking dumb, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. That was kind of fucking dumb. Listen, if you want to be a sperm donor, by all means, go educate yourself, learn about the different parameters, what it entails, what that means for you and your rights, and then go through the very legal and valid means to do so. We just got that whole Netflix documentary, The Man with 1,000 Kids, who gamed the sperm donation system so that he could literally have as many children as he possibly could that he is not legally responsible for. Okay? There are people out here doing it to the extremes. Okay? Let me read this quick super chat. No, I'm sorry, oh my god, Barbecue for the win. I have not played that game yet, but thank you for the super chat. I have not been able to do any gaming yet. I've been too busy researching this insanity. Okay? And here's the thing. Because sperm donation has such a unique realm of removing all of your parental accountability, something that ordinarily no governmental body ever wants you to be able to do. The government loves holding parents accountable, as they should, right? But if you sign all the right forms and go through a sperm donation agency, you're not the father. You have no paternal obligations or responsibilities. But, sir, what ironclad agreement do you think you signed with this woman? Because I don't care if you got it notarized. Shit's not legal. Guys, do you know that even with a prenuptial agreement, you still can't put any agreements about parenting terms or child support? And 50% of prenups and postnups get completely thrown out. So I don't know what you thought was ironclad about the situation, but fellas, everyone listening right now, no, do not let anybody convince you that if you put your seed inside of them without if you put your seed inside of them the old-fashioned way, that's not donating your sperm. That's just becoming a dad. Okay? So we're gonna take some accountability here. Okay? It doesn't matter if someone else who is older than you tells you, no, I promise this is the way it works. You'll simply put a baby in me and you'll never have to worry about a thing after that. Sure, that's wrong of you to say if you don't mean it. And it's also dumb as for anybody to be like, okay. Sorry, wrong screen. But let's hear him out.
They then began getting dinner or whatever regularly, and as she got to know my parents started encouraging me to be in the baby's life, and once I found out it was a little girl, I thought it was the right thing to do. I flew home to be there for...
Okay. First of all, why did you only suddenly want to get involved if it was a girl, especially because it's a girl? If it was a boy, you would have been like, nah. Probably not, though. But yeah, of course your parents, if they find out that they have a grandbaby, are going to encourage you to be in their lives, okay? Now, she goes behind his back. She tells his parents about the baby. This is where it does get, I will admit, a little bit more nefarious, okay? Because if it's true that she really was like, you're not going to have to be involved in this baby's life. I really just want the baby. I'm never going to come for child support or anything like that. And then you don't. Again, that's kind of crummy. But men, you have to know that it's legal. I am warning you. It is completely legal. Dylan says, only way I'll spread seed for a stranger is if I'm hired to do their gardening. Yep, there's no child support with helping someone with a garden. It's not like you have to like come back and help additionally fertilize the mangoes or whatever the Okay, so he's going to go into how he fully got a tattoo for his daughter. And this is important later.
For the birth. And I got a tattoo of our daughter's middle name before she was born. After our daughter was born, Maria wanted us to be together and be a family. And when I said I didn't want to do that, she wouldn't let me see my daughter.
Okay, he says after this, she wanted them to be together, which honestly valid. I mean, like, obviously things have progressed. Emotions have started to become involved and invested into this child. He's fully gotten the tattoo. I don't think it's wrong for her to shoot her shot and be like, hey, even though this isn't really the way we intended for this to start, how do you feel about maybe having it go this way? Like, those of you know, I'm a stepmom, right? And when I first started getting serious with my husband, I actually did have a conversation with him at one point where I sat him down and I said, listen, I'm still in my early 20s. I have my whole life ahead of me. If you at all want to like stop this and try things again with the mother of your child, I would never hold that against you. Like, if you want to go back and try that one more time, like, please don't worry about me. And he was like, no, nope, been there, tried that. I want this. And obviously 10 years later, that clearly was the right decision. But I would never hold it against two parents for suggesting, like, what if we try to make this work, right? So what do these texts say? I'm going to read these out loud. He says, all good. She says, I'm going to stop by Popeye's practice if you want something. Or after practice, I'm assuming she says. We can't read his message here. She says, I'm sorry if I seemed moody. Just had the shittiest day. I want to try and make it work with us being a family. Can we do that? I want to be with you, Brett. I hate when you leave us. I just need you to say something or know how you feel about this. I don't think this is crazy at all so far. He says, I'm sorry, but that isn't what I want to do. She said that hurts. Fair enough. Again, I always say nothing wrong with asking as long as you can take the rejection. You know what I'm saying?
My main source of income at the time was the Airbnb that I owned.
Now, he also implies that after this, she stops letting him see the baby. This is important for several reasons. This is important, obviously, because this is playing on a raw nerve, a big pain point of a lot of us who have been superficially denied seeing our children just because we're not playing along with their game. And so a lot of us know this happens. We immediately believe him. We're furious. But what I also want to make a note of is the fact that he wants to see this child, right? He's got the tattoo for the child. You're making a choice to invest in this child, and at no point did you even consider getting a paternity test this whole time? This is another point where it's like, guys, let's learn a lesson from this. Clearly, this whole situation is way too late for Brett. He's in it. But for all of you guys watching right now, if you're ever in a situation that's just a little off with co-parenting, you're allowed to do a paternity test at any time, okay? But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. She goes on to say, the baby and I need to stay in your house for like 2 months until I can get our own place and so that I can save a little more. I don't know how I feel about her just like making this as a demand. This is also where I'm getting awk vibes from both of them. She says, I am taking a position remote, which comes with a huge pay cut, but I won't have to put our daughter in daycare and I can be home with her. Looks like we're closing this property on June 9th in Metairie, so I'm hoping to be packed up and out of this apartment the weekend prior to the 9th. I'll put all my stuff in storage except our clothes. Can we stay there? So about an hour and 10 minutes passes. She says, kind of important you respond. Now, okay, I agree. If I'm asking a person if I can literally, if I'm asking the father of my child if he can station me and our child, I agree that's an important question. However, a very heavy loaded thing to spring on someone, maybe give it a day. Maybe give it a day before you freak out, because this is one of those, your failure to plan should not become someone else's emergency situations. While, yes, as he has now established his paternity for this child, both by getting a tattoo, by being consistently involved, and I believe this will get cleared up, but I'm pretty sure he signed the birth certificate. This is where we get into another big lesson here. Hello, Doom for Zombies. Hello. One of the biggest takeaways that I need you guys to walk away from this stream with is the knowledge that as soon as you sign a birth certificate, your paternity is irrevocably established. Like, at this point, the only way for you to not be responsible for that child is if, one, you commit such heinous crimes that they strip you of your parental rights, in which case you will probably also go to jail, or two, you get another person to take over for you. Like, you find another dad who will agree to adopt the child and revoke your paternity, and in general, you have to all go to court together to make that happen. Not the easiest thing in the world, so if there is a single doubt in your mind that that child is yours, you might have to hurt some feelings. I'm so sorry about it, but don't sign that. Don't sign it until you know for sure that that child is genetically yours. You have the right to. You might hurt some feelings. You might completely damage your relationship with the mother of this child. If you are the dad, she might be so offended that you chose to do that she never wants to date you again. It's possible, but you have to determine for yourself if that's a risk you're willing to take. I think it's a risk you should be willing to take. I'm doing my part trying to educate women on, like, if you really do love this man, like, you should be the one offering to do a paternity test, because we as women always get the privilege of knowing whether or not our kid is ours. You know, crazy, insane hospital mix-ups aside, but in general, when we watch the baby come out, as long as no one takes it away immediately, we know that's ours. Guys don't really have that same privilege, and so I personally, like, my husband's never actually asked. Then again, you know, our daughter's a friggin' doppelganger of the guy, but we got to stop being so offended about it. It should just be baked into the whole childcare system, quite frankly. So by 2 hours after she sends this text asking if she can move in with Brett, she is now sent another follow-up text saying, You're deliberately ignoring me and it's extremely frustrating considering I'm asking you to put a roof over your daughter's head. If you don't want to help us, then let's see a lawyer and sign your rights over. Ah, you had it out there, buddy. Damn, you had a window. She literally was like, okay, sign your rights over. That doesn't happen very often. That's another way to get out of jail, so to say, as if she literally lets you. I don't usually encourage that, though. I am, the Dadvocate, so I tend to advocate for actually being a dad. But we'll see how this plays out.
And she said this a few months after she was born. I felt bad, so I let her move in for several months, rent-free. Once she moved out, she told
Okay, so he ends up letting her come to live with them, not just for the couple of months that she said she needed to kind of get back on her feet, but like he says for several months. These texts continue. She sent a K at one point. I'm also, now I will say this, I'm a little skeptical of the fact that like it's just only her. It could be possible that like these are entirely one-sided conversations, but like is he deleting responses? I don't know. She says, "This is what I want. I want you to pay her daycare, the full amount. I can have her one full weekend a month if you stay at your parents'. Let me know if this works for you. Let's just figure this out before you get into town. I don't want to have to speak to you anymore." Okay, so is this okay? I want to get this over with. Can you please respond? We are talking about our child. We talked about having some kind of agreement by this evening, Brett. So we need to figure this out. If you don't respond to me, I'm going to quit responding to you. Okay, kind of an empty threat. It doesn't seem like he cares. So if she is truly... let me rephrase this. If he is truly the paternal father of this child, and if he has by this point agreed with her, forget what we said before about me not being involved in the child's life. I'm obviously involved now. If that's true, then what she's asking for, in my opinion, is not crazy. Dude's is skilled at getting out windows as a fly. Yeah, they're not very good at that, are they? As soon as he took interest in the child, he became responsible for the child financially and other ways, in my opinion. Yeah, Matt, I'm kind of the same opinion as you. He did not stay consistent, right? If he truly was like, no, I'm not going to be involved, then he kind of needed to just stay in that lane, not like play hokey pokey in this kid's life. That's going to get really confusing for that poor child. So if this is true, what she's asking for, not actually unreasonable. He only has to see the kid 2 days out of the month and then pays the daycare cost. That seems kind of valid for me because if you're not stepping up to physically be with the child more, then yes, you have to pay for something. I'm sorry. If you're going to be the one walking around telling everybody, I'm a father, I have this amazing daughter, look at my tattoo of my daughter, then you don't get to also refuse to pay for anything and refuse to see that child. Right? It's kind of lame otherwise. This is where we gotta have a little bit of mutual responsibility now. Now, if he has been saying, look, I acknowledge her existence as kind of like a sperm donation father or like a surrogate of sorts, but I'm not actually in this for the full commitment because you promised me that I wouldn't have to be, then it is kind of weird for her to suddenly be like, anyway, now that I've baby trapped you, time for you to pay up. Like, it's so hard to understand the full breadth of the scummy behavior here, but there's certainly red flags from both sides.
told me this. I've never done anything to warrant supervised visits, but I agreed to keep the peace. I would come home as often as I could to see our daughter, and
Okay, so now he gets put on supervised visitation. That's another red flag in this situation to me, because in my opinion, supervised visitation should only exist if like you're a danger. If a credible claim against you has been made, something like that. But like, supervised visitation is so extra. You have to go out and like have some stranger monitor your behavior with your child and typically pay out the ass for it. I've heard it be like $200 an hour, but regardless, he's showing up. I guess also they'll do supervised visitation if you've been absent from the child's life for so long, just to make sure that it's like a healthy reintroduction. So that could be it. If he's like not really seeing this kid, then the courts might have recommended that to reintroduce him to the life. So what we see on screen is pictures of him and her. It's pretty much just like, it looks like this was all from 1 or 2 weekends, actually. Because like 3 of these photo sets, she's like in the same outfit. It's from the same Christmas time visit. And then the other 2, they might be like a couple other visits. So it's definitely, we're getting the idea that he's not like super dad. He's not like really making all the effort to see this child. He's kind of like having his arm twisted to be involved begrudgingly, it seems. But again, if the intention was never to quote unquote be a dad, I can kind of see that. But at the same time, fellas, you can't drop a load inside of a woman and then be mad that you become a dad. Use a fucking condom.
Things were usually okay when I was there. These are all from her Facebook. One Halloween, I didn't want to wear matching costumes with Maria, so she wouldn't let me see my daughter for a while.
Wow, okay. He claims that it's not that he's not making an effort to see his child. It's that, you know, if he didn't agree to every single one of Maria's terms, such as wearing matching Halloween costumes, then he gets banned from seeing the child. So this is definitely quite the he said, she said. According to her, he's not even trying. According to him, she's not letting him. Both of these things happen.
And when our daughter was being baptized, I drove a 14-hour round trip from Nashville.
Gamer Daddy, I know condoms and birth control in tandem can fail. Trust me, I know too. Look at this guy. Do you think he tried? No, he didn't. He trusted some lady who was like, if you come inside of me, I won't do anything about it. Guys, you have to be smarter than this. This is not Darwinism. Actually, it is.
To attend. And because I didn't want to see Maria the night before, she didn't allow me to come to the baptism at all. Soon after this, she served me with child support, saying that our original contract wasn't valid because our daughter didn't have a social security number yet. And I didn't fight her on it. I didn't have the time. I was living away. I ended up paying her $10,000 up front and $750 a month. I was able to move home soon after that, and I began seeing our daughter regularly.
Okay, so this is where he decides to get way more committed. She threatens him with child support, and that's when he's kind of like, oh shit, okay, so this is getting pretty real. The way that he's speaking is kind of vague, so I'm really not sure how much of this was voluntary versus how much of this was compelled. Because he is saying, okay, I paid $10,000 up front, then I proceeded to pay $750 a month, and began seeing my daughter regularly. This is where Suspicious Lauren is suspicious, because who just offers out of the goodness of their heart to just suddenly give this person an entire down payment for a house? Either he is just like the best guy, just a real kind heart, and has the disposable income, or what actually happened is that he was hit with retroactive child support, which is they take all the time that the child has been alive that no child support has been ordered or no consistent payments have proof of being made, and then they come up with a sum that you should have been paying this whole time, and then you have to pay that. So I don't know, like, what the truth is here. Did you do that out of the kindness of your heart, or did you have to pay $10,000 due to a retroactive child support order? Same with the $750 a month. Is that what you and Maria just mutually decided on, or is that what the courts did? And I'm telling you, I'm leaning toward this is not out of the kindness of his own heart, because he says she filed for child support and I didn't fight it. He didn't fight it, which means they probably did slap him silly with the retroactive child support. If you don't fight child support, they will pull your pants down and slap you while making you take the massive hog of the family court law system, dude. Like, you are getting wholly fucked if you don't do anything to even try to, like, improve the child support order system for yourself. This is all reading to me like he knows exactly how screwed over of a situation he put himself in, but is trying to make it sound like I got tricked into this. Okay, no. Baby trapping 100% exists. Men and women do it to each other. Poking a hole in the condom, baby trapping. Replacing her birth control pills with a placebo, baby trapping. Arguably lying about being on birth control, baby trapping. But someone telling you, knock me up, trust me, bro, that's both of y'all being dumbasses. Let's continue. We've barely made it through the first video.
Everything was going really well until I got a girlfriend. Even though she had a boyfriend who was regularly around our daughter, she said that my girlfriend couldn't be around our daughter. I was able to get our daughter for an afternoon, and Maria asked what I was doing. I told her that I was with my girlfriend and we were at Lowe's together. She freaked out. I said I'd bring her daughter back to her as soon as we were done, but instead Maria drove to Lowe's, apparently called my dad, and was running up and down the aisle screaming. I don't know what actually happened, but she was freaking out, just blowing up my phone.
Hey, this story, it's like every time he has me, he says something else that's got, like, skeptical Lauren so skeptical, because this story about, like, oh, she's allowed to have a boyfriend, but as soon as he gets a girlfriend, it's a problem. A tale as old as time. Absolutely, I believe that happened, because Lord knows that that happened to me. TJ tells his ex, hey, I just started, you know, becoming real serious about someone. It's time, you know, like, I'm serious about her, and it's time that we start making it serious to our son as well. And it was, no, she's not allowed around our son until I meet her, and I don't want to meet her. And I'm like, okay, I'll play nice. I won't be around your kid. The minute she starts dating someone, before she ever agrees to meet me, while I'm still hiding under a blanket metaphorically, she has this dude fully moved in to the same bedroom she shares with her son, PS4 plugged in where his nightlight used to be. Like, I see hypocrisy has entered the chat. Like, I absolutely fully believe that this happened, that there was a Lowe's meltdown. But this is where it gets weird, is he says that he's with his girlfriend, his daughter's at Lowe's, she comes freaking out, calling the dad. Brett says he suddenly doesn't know what happened. What do you mean you don't know what happened? Were you not the one at Lowe's? Like, I see that we have this photo of her at Lowe's. Was this sent to him from his dad? Was he just with his girlfriend, but he's actually letting his dad watch the daughter? And if so, skeptical growl, because, bro, you have limited time with your kid and you're handing him off so you can hang out with your girlfriend. Hang out with your girlfriend when you don't have your kid. I'm sorry. And look, every once in a while, if it's the only time that lines up, sometimes you gotta let your parents watch the kid for a couple hours while you go see your girlfriend. Every once in a while, and it could have been one of those situations. This whole thing is just so weird that I have to be skeptical from every single angle.
Thinking she was in danger. And keep in mind, my girlfriend is a mom as well as a nurse. Our daughter was never in any danger. When I offered Maria and my girlfriend to get to know each other, so
Okay, so she's screaming that his girlfriend is a danger. He says, no, that's not possible because my girlfriend is a mom and a nurse. So, again, this is a situation where they're both wrong. Like, she's wrong for belligerently making false accusations against someone without any purpose or reason. But he's also wrong that a mom and a nurse can't harm children. Literally, where my like family lives right now on the east side of the state, St. Clair Shores, a mom and a nurse recently just decapitated her own son. Okay, so just want to clear that one up. So I'm confused. Is this his kid or not? I warn you, by the end of this, we still probably will not know.
they'd be comfortable, with my daughter being around. She immediately said no and, called my girlfriend a word that rhymes with chore and refused
Sounds familiar.
to know her. Maria then made a public post saying that I was a deadbeat dad and that I hadn't seen our daughter in weeks. Here I am with our daughter just a few days prior to this post. I also left my best friend's bachelor party a day early so I could.
Okay, so now she's making posts about him, calling him a deadbeat dad, saying that he hasn't seen their daughter in weeks. Let's see. He also shares this Facebook post from Maria, so I'm going to go ahead and read this now. Oh, it's public too. Something my heart will always hurt for. I wish I had the choice to remove someone from her life so she doesn't have to experience the immense amount of pain she'll feel one day when she realizes someone who is supposed to be so important to her in her life is absent most of the time. One thing she'll never have to worry about is that I'll always show up for her and I'll never make her feel half loved. Someone related to him with the last name Fairley says, quit talking shit, man. A friend Amanda says, talking shit, are you commenting on the correct post? There's no shit talking here. Looks like she's expressing some hard truths and concerns with her daughter. It's called parenting. You and your brother could both take notes. Oh shit. Maria also says, he's defending someone who's shoveling hot dogs down his throat for Instagram likes, going on a world tour for the rest of the year, according to his most recent post, leaves his daughter with his parents on his weekend so he can travel, and skip town this weekend to miss another Father's Day with his child. This is just this month. The list goes on and on. Don't come at me. Truth is coming out, and I'm not afraid to share it to the public anymore. Oh, Brett. This is one of those situations where, like, Brett, no one would know any of this if you yourself didn't share it. Like, this post by Maria literally didn't even get a single like. The only person that responded to it was immediately the brother. I'm sure she's deleted this immediately. You know what I'm saying? And, like, this is just crazy. They both look so crazy because she looks bad here. She's obviously being taken quite out of her character, I would say, by taking it too public. She's venting. She is admittedly trying to make him look bad. Okay? The argument of, like, I'm not talking shit, it's subtle, but you are. But you are, though. You know, at the same time, this only kind of tells on Brett a little bit. Because the odds of her lying about everything she listed, if it's true that he accepted the child for Father's Day weekend, but then just dipped out of town, didn't even see his own kid, it's kind of like, okay, I am judging you a little bit for this.
I could be home for Father's Day and she still wouldn't allow me to see her. She even said this to my grandmother.
Okay, so his version of events is she's saying he wouldn't see the kid. He's still saying she wouldn't let me. This is so tough. It could go either way.
She had her friends comment mean things on my girlfriend's social media multiple times, even though my girlfriend has never been anything but nice to Maria.
Okay, so are these posts still on Maria's. Let's read what this is. Sandra Coffey says, this is why you should date and marry someone you know and who wants a life with you, because children are going to live with these choices. Blank is precious, but she didn't come into this world under normal choices and circumstances. The guy had no clue what he was getting into. I truly wish you and Blank a wonderful life, but choices have consequences. Praying for you to find the guy you're meant to have and the life that makes you happy. So, okay, Sandra apparently has heard the whole story then of Brett's story that he's been consistent about, that this was only supposed to be an improper sperm donation and nothing more, and any involvement he's had in his daughter's alleged daughter's life, some would say his daughter. Oh man, I'm sorry, my chat is like coming in so slow, so I am not seeing this. But if you guys want, I can turn off the chat. I'm so sorry. My restream is like not letting it come in, so I'm not able to see anything in any real time. So Sandra clearly knows Brett's OG story here, and Maria responds with, your response is sickening to me, but I guess since you're his grandmother, of course you'll respond with something like this. The fact that you could turn this around on me and not recognize that he decided that he wanted to be a father. He had every chance to walk away, and honestly, I wish he would have. But he was there at the hospital. He chose to sign the birth certificate. So confirmed, he signed the birth certificate. So whatever happened to prior to blank went out the window. You don't get to be a half-assed dad. Sorry. It's his family that enables his behavior. Let's not forget that both him and his brother have both abandoned their children for long periods of time. Something is seriously wrong with all of you guys. I pray for all of you. Oof. Okay. So it sounds like Maria has all but confirmed Brett's series of events that he was pseudo-conned into having a kid. And I say pseudo-conned because, yes, she was the mastermind behind this, clearly. She just admitted it. She just admitted that she was like, come on, please, give me a baby. Like, she just admitted it. But also, Brett was a grown man when he made this decision. He had every opportunity and available resource to Google, what legal liabilities will I have to this child? What is the legitimacy of this agreement? He could have partnered with a lawyer. He could have done so many things. That's why I'm like, it's not as though this was an agreement that he made under duress. He had plenty of time to think about it. He was like, should I go splooge in this lady? Shouldn't I? I should. And then he went and splooged in the lady. Not only did he splooge in the lady, but he showed up to the hospital and he signed the birth certificate. Yeah. At this point, attempting to carry on with this illusion of like, yeah, but I got tricked into it. It's like, yeah, but it's true. You had so many opportunities to say, hey, how about instead of signing this birth certificate, I sign my rights away? That is what you should have done. Instead, you committed. Guys, if you walk away with any information from this stream, just know that as soon as you sign a birth certificate, that is you fully committing, no matter what, to that child. It is. It is. If you didn't know before, now you know. That is the signature to end all signatures. Okay? Let's see. Maria also says, and your grandson put his thing in... And your grandson puts his thing in anything that walks because he's reckless or he doesn't know what he was getting himself into. So the next poor girl who gets pregnant by him, are you going to say, well, your actions have consequences when he decides to be absent from that child's life too? Please do not come at me. I don't care to hurt any of your feelings anymore. Okay, bye. So it's both of you. You both need to hear that your actions have consequences. Like, as much as I'm getting on him and I'm like, Brett, stop acting like you got tricked. You splooged inside of someone. With her, you can't just recklessly sleep with dudes and then expect them to fully show up as present parents who want to be there. That's also so stupid and irresponsible of you, especially when the entire lead-in to you collecting the splooge was, don't worry, I won't ask for anything. A lot of women do get tricked by covert narcissists who are men telling them, I want to be a father, I want to take care of you, I want to be your husband. And then the second she gets pregnant, he dips, and that sucks. That is not what happened here. She spoke to this man who literally told her, I'll f you, but I have no interest in doing anything beyond that. And she still was like, okay. Dumb and dumber over here, and I can't tell which is which.
Because Maria tends to do this, I want to make sure that she doesn't twist the story and make it seem like I abandoned our daughter. I recently found out that our daughter isn't mine. I don't know who the dad is, but I've had 2 paternity tests done, and they both say this. I believed Maria when she told me that I was the only possible father. The situation was weird, but I was always happy to be a dad. I knew that Maria already knew she was pregnant. She had to have, when she asked me to get her pregnant. I didn't think that was something that someone would lie about to another human being.
All right. So in response to the question, whose side are you on? The side of truth and justice. You think I'm going to blindly believe either of these strangers off the internet? Come on. I'm going to critically analyze this and we'll all draw our own conclusions. So it sounds as though he has just found out that he is not the father. Now, he has found this out through 2 separate at-home paternity tests. Now, let's Google. How accurate are at-home paternity tests? At-home paternity tests can be accurate, but may not be as reliable as legal paternity tests. Let's see, do we have a... Okay, that was the AI overview, but according to Alpha Biolabs USA, their at-home paternity tests offer 100% accuracy. Let's see, any other, Yeah, it says that they're supposed to be about 100% accurate, right? So if you've taken 2 and they both are saying 0% possible, that's rough, buddy. And if that's the case, this does add a much deeper level of nefariousness to this whole situation with Maria, because it begs the question, were you pregnant when you asked this man to get you pregnant? What exactly was the timeline there? Let's keep getting into it.
Not only to me, but my entire family as well. Everybody's distraught about this. Maria, I allowed you to paint me as the villain and you as the victim for years to keep peace, but I hope you know that the only victim here is your child.
All right. So that was the video that kicked this all off. Now, shortly after this, we hear from Maria herself.
Before you all start believing his shit, there's just a few things that I want you to take into consideration. Is first, the collection date was August 10th, 2024. Well, I had my daughter on August 10th, 2024.
Okay, yeah, so as we...
Let's see. The only place I could find this video was through this channel, Marky, and it doesn't look like he shows the whole rest of it. But basically, This looked, the only screen recordings we have of this Maria video were actually taken by Brett and then re-uploaded to his own channel. And he had a whole response to it, which is also now deleted. Maria responds by saying, before you believe Brett, I need you to know that the child was with me on the date that he allegedly collected this sample. So it could not even be her DNA. She was with me. Now, I don't know if that's the strongest argument, because it could be that, you know, you took the sample and then didn't send it in for a few days, or I'm not too sure. That's not, to me, absolute proof that, oh, I can't believe these paternity tests, because I do believe Brett when he says that he took them and that the results yielded 0%, because coming online and like lying about that, pretty risky. I'm not saying it's impossible for someone to do it, but then what do we get into next? So next, we get another little update. Let me get to this part of the video, which is where another woman enters the ring to introduce some new information. You know what? No, I'll skip that part and just go right to this one. Let me get it all nice and queued up for us here. Gotta make it look pretty. Oops. What did I do here? There we go. Okay. This one's also since been deleted, but I did find this re-upload. So this is where we introduce our third character into the mix here. This is the very well-known blue check-marked TikToker who ends up becoming a pretty important character in this.
You should write a book.
He's responding to a comment.
Best-selling author.
Girl, the contractor's cute. Does he come with the house? He does.
So, what we see here is we come to find out that Brett, our maybe dad of this story, has actually been dating a famous TikToker named Nurse Hadley. We'll go to her page real quick so I can just kind of give you an idea, and we're definitely going to hear more from her. Quick look at Nurse Hadley, 2.1 million followers, well-known lady. And the introduction of Nurse Hadley to this story causes seemingly everything to go absolutely off the rails. Oh my god, thank you for donating the memberships, Neuroped's dad. If you have just become a YouTube member, enjoy your new emojis that you have and early access to some videos that no one else can watch yet. So yeah. Okay. Let me see here. All right. So this is where we meet a new character. Okay. Oh, wait. Let me... make this go away for a brief second. Okay. This is where we meet a new character who begins to speak up on this whole situation. And that character is a woman named Michelle Vu, who is apparently Maria's real-life cousin. And she ends up having a lot to say. She posts to her story a picture of her with Maria and says, I'll be dropping a video about Beavis today on behalf of my cousin Maria. Please show her the love and respect she deserves. Social media isn't her comfort zone, and she shouldn't face backlash for a one-sided story. So now we're all listening, okay? Michelle Vu writes, an at-home paternity test without a third party is completely unacceptable. Did you know his girlfriend is a nurse who lost custody of all her kids? It's giving they tampered with the test. Yeah, he conveniently left that part out. Oof. So, this might start to change things a little bit. Now, the accusations against Nurse Hadley are also pretty heavy. I will say, saying they tampered with the test is a bit odd to me. I'm not really sure how you would, unless you just like tested a kid that's not obviously not your kid and then trying to submit it just to cause drama. But at this point, it sounds like Brett is pretty locked into the family court system. Like he's already paying child support. His paternity has already been established. So I think I would hope that both Brett and Nurse Hadley would both know and understand that a fake paternity test would not void you of all of your responsibilities. It's my belief that they did take that test for actual closure, to simply have the knowledge. And quite frankly, they decided ultimately to expose that knowledge for one reason or another. She goes on to say, let me clarify. Hadley didn't lose custody of her kids. She gave her son to her ex-husband because he has a learning disability. I don't know about you all, but I could never give my child away. It's tough for me to sympathize with her because she's a hypocrite. She doesn't want false information spread, yet she condones Brett's behavior. Instead of reaching out to Maria about the at-home paternity test results, Brett took it to social media. Maria found out just like the rest of us did yesterday. Could you imagine checking your phone and seeing hundreds of messages and videos of your baby daddy claiming he didn't know you and that it was just a one-night stand? He painted a narrative that made my cousin look like a crazy, malicious stalker. At-home DNA tests get mailed to a lab for testing. That's what it seems to be, and that's why it seems as though they have pretty good accuracy, especially because from my experience with various DNA testing companies, if for any reason the DNA that you submit has some kind of an issue, they'll just like send you another kit and be like, can you try again, please? We weren't able to get that. So they do seem pretty accurate. So here she is saying, you know, you should have contacted Maria as soon as you took this test. I don't know about that. I really don't know about that. If you've had me believing that I'm this child's dad for this whole time, then I don't think I owe you fucking anything. Okay? Because you didn't think to disclose to me this entire time, hey, and just so you know, there's also someone else that I slept with during the same conception window as our child. You didn't think to disclose any of that, so why is it my obligation to disclose to you anything at all about my life? Because I'm sorry, if you're having a baby, you know who the dad is, or you know who the possibility of the dad could be. If there's even a subtle chance, you know if you slept with more than one person during that time. Like, be so for real. Her saying she found out when you did, as if they were both on an equal playing field, as if he had just as much access to the knowledge of who the father could or couldn't be as she does. Really? Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's the whole one there. I want to clarify. based on reliable resources, that Brett's girlfriend did not lose custody of her kids. Her ex-husband has one of their children, but I'm not privy to the reasons why, and I'm certainly not here to drag any kids into this. That's awkward. It looks like we already did, though. We must prioritize protecting our children. With that said, in the Brett versus Maria situation, let's please keep the child out of it. She does not deserve any death threats. Okay. People are making death threats against the child? What the hell? Now, leaving the child out of it, unfortunately, is just not going to be possible because the child is the entire heart of the issue here. Now, whether or not people choose to target the child, yeah, don't target the child, okay? But we often talk on this channel about how a lot of times when people are found to be guilty in social media situations, they'll revert to, okay, I know that I did something that made everybody very angry, but now people are being mean to me, so I'm the victim. And they usually do this by taking like small amounts of mean comments, harassment, or even death threats, right? And then using fallacious arguments to say, well, look, I'm getting these mean comments, so just ignore all of the lies and nefarious things that I did. I don't know. Brett doesn't seem like the perfect, most responsible guy, but it does seem as though you were sleeping with numerous men, at least more than one, and then tried to trick a man into some kind of weird parenting agreement where you allege that you would not care if he contributed or not to the child's life, which would become a lie. You obviously did very much care and hold him to the standard of the same standard as a man who you actively planned a real parenting journey with. It's all really tough to say because the argument can justifiably be made that Brett did plan this pregnancy. It was a very planned pregnancy, actually, but the terms, debatable. Let me see what else I have from this cousin. Now, she also takes this comment posted by Nurse Hadley, who says, I'm so sorry. I think I've just been talking so much that's forcing me to yawn. Nurse Hadley says, haha, this showed up on my For You page. As the girlfriend and nurse, yes, that's what happened. I said, please get a DNA test. These dates aren't adding up. We were still shocked at the results, though. She says, how would you know the dates aren't adding up? You've only known Brett for 6 months, and since you've been in the picture, you've caused so much drama. Brett, tell the viewers why your parents don't like Hadley. So it sounds more and more like Nurse Hadley may have been the one to suggest getting a DNA test for the first time. Now, to those on the Maria camp, I could see why that might seem as though, like, oh my God, this girlfriend is coming in and she doesn't want you to have a kid, so she's causing all of this problems. Or did we just need an extra set of eyes on the situation, right? Hey, what did I miss? A lot. Go back and watch it on 2 times speed, right? Okay. However, I think it's fair a lot of times for a new person to come in and suddenly be the one that goes, hey, did you recognize that you're not really being treated fairly? I mean, like that's kind of what I did in my husband's situation. Was I came into his life, and as soon as he told his ex that he was serious about someone, she suddenly was like, okay, well, I only want you to have 1 day a week now with the child, even though you've been seeing him every single day this entire time. That's when I was like, hey, you might need to take this to court, because I don't think that you can rely on this person without a court order. And like, I'm sorry, but I ended up being very right about that. And if it's true that this child is not his, Nurse Hadley ended up being very right about that. Finally, we have this. She says, I know this is a serious accusation, but my intuition is telling me not to trust this girl. Just look at how everything has unfolded. I thought nurses were meant to embody empathy and compassion. Instead of encouraging Brett to handle this privately, especially when it involves a child, she motivated him to exploit that situation. You coached him and assisted with the video. You've claimed you're not a mean girl and that you've never seen Brett lie, yet you're condoning his behavior. He's bullied my cousin and created a false narrative for money and views. Where is your integrity? Now, she does bring up a valid point. I'm pretty angry that Maria seems to have manipulated this situation. She definitely tried it. She definitely tried to baby trap a man. Not just baby trap him because he knew the baby was going to be made, but like fatherhood trap a man. She was like, and not just that, she tried to, yeah, she did try to baby trap him, because by all definitions, baby trapping is when you try to get someone to stay with you through a baby. And that's kind of what she did. Is she was, once the baby was born, she was like, well, now what if we stay together? Now what if you pay child support? Now what if you put us up and live with you? What if we just get married, actually? Like, you can't, ladies, you can't trap men. You can't trick a man into a whole family with you. It's obviously not going to work. At the same time, you do have to wonder what the ultimate motivation was in bringing this into the public eye. It seems clear that his end goal was to embarrass and call out Maria. Some of you are going to argue, good, she deserves to be called out. That behavior was crazy. But for those of us who are kind of more hardline and like this is kind of partner shaming. A little bit. This is co-parent shaming, and I'm not really pro co-parent shaming either. Now, we all deserve a place to vent, especially anonymously, about co-parenting struggles. We all deserve a place to discuss the hardships of co-parenting, because Lord knows we have a lot. But do you know how much of a fucking asshole I would be if I was complaining about my stepson's mom and then blasted her full face and name the way that he did? You know, like, because that's what he did. All of the surnames, all of the names involved in my case are banned words on every platform that I own. Because I'm not trying to get nobody dragged like this. Okay? So I'm so camp everybody sucks here. I'm so camp everybody look at these idiots so that we can all learn a lesson. Can I get an everybody sucks here for 500? Alex, you literally could not have gotten it with any better timing. Like, as I was saying it, you were donating. That's so funny. Now, before we move on to another update from Michelle, who does give us some pretty damning information here, I want to show you guys one other thing that happened. Now, I don't know how exactly this made its way to the internet or how it ended up all the way down here. Get over here. But someone uploaded this photo of Brett going to a tattoo shop and tattooing a red line through his daughter's middle name, Love. That's wild. I have such mixed feelings on that, and so do the commenters. A lot of people are like, dude, this is disgusting. You claimed this child. You took ownership and paternity of this child. You've been in this child's life, and now you're crossing out her name. But for others, they're viewing this as like, dude, let the man grieve. Let him have this catharsis, because he just got hit with some devastating news. What up, Twodrew? Let him grieve. Let him handle it how he's going to. And it might not be the most public facing, I guess, like the most gentlemanly way of grieving, right? But he's going through some shit. Some people argue that. Me personally, I don't think he should have done this. Again, you're kind of committed to the bit at this point, right? Like, you had ample opportunity to do tons of paternity testing before committing fully to this child, but you committed fully to the child. You did. They know you as dad. And I think maybe one of the reasons that I'm having such a hard time with him thinking that it's just so easy to walk away at this point. And trust me, I understand. Like, I'll never know what it's like. I have the privilege of never having to worry about what it could be like finding out my kid is not mine, right? But I have a cousin who, her husband came with a kid. And it wasn't until after they got together, same exact situation, they find out the kid is not his. But he'd been involved in the child's life for so long that he just kept doing what he was doing. And eventually the mom became so unstable that he took over full sole physical and legal custody, where he was just the full-time dad. He has no biological relationship to this child, and that's his son. And I admire that. At the same time, I personally think that legally, if you find out that there has been known paternity fraud, which I think we can prove here. I think Maria has already, through her texts, proved that this was paternity fraud. Honestly, I think there's a strong case. I think that if theoretically and ideally you have a strong enough case for paternity fraud, paternity fraud. Stop, that's so funny. I know you guys are about to be sending all kinds of memes now. Paternity frog in tow to go on an adventure. Anyway, if you could prove paternity fraud, you should be allowed to have your paternity revoked. You should be able to have your parental rights dismissed. Ideally. Does that exist? Nope. And that's why I'm kind of like, man, you're really jumping the gun here, Brett. Like, you are acting as though, because you know what you know now, that you're off the hook. You're not, though. Legally, once you've signed that paperwork, it doesn't matter. Paternity fraud is not illegal. And I'm not saying that because I like it. I hate it. But paternity fraud is not prosecutable, not jailable, not finable. According to the United States, there is nothing legally wrong with committing paternity fraud on purpose. There's nothing bad that can happen to you. Legally. This whole stream serves to desperately try to educate you young men and you young women who think that baby trapping is a good idea. Obviously, Maria is not in a good spot right now. Obviously, this did not quote unquote work. Okay, it's not prosecutable or punishable, but is it edible? Is paternity fraud edible? No one ate. No one ate in this situation, okay? So now, I want to get into this next video where Michelle debunks the claim that Brett's involvement with Maria was just a one-night stand.
I was 23. I had a one-night stand with a girl from my hometown named Maria. We both knew it was nothing more than that.
They were together on Maria's birthday. Okay, so what we're looking at is a couple pictures of them on dates. The first two, I was like, this isn't really like a smoking gun for me because this could just be them out as co-parents. But then we see the next one where Maria is sitting on his lap, kissing him on the cheek. That's pretty damning. She's also sitting on his lap there. Yeah, she's literally sitting on his lap, kissing him on the cheek, not exactly just friendly co-parenting. And then this one's the most damning of all. They are literally either naked or in intimate swimsuits together. Oh, why is this not showing up? My bad. Let me bring this back. Okay. That was my bad, everybody. Let me get rid of all of these. And move this. Okay. Sorry. Let me start over. I didn't realize I was hiding it from you guys. I was so lost in the sauce.
I was 23. I had a one-night stand with a girl from my hometown named Maria. We both knew it was nothing more than that.
Yeah, this one, not damning yet. This one, not damning yet. But this one, she's sitting on his lap. She's kissing his cheek. This doesn't really, it's no longer looking like just a one-night stand. And this one's pretty damning. They are either naked or in swimsuits in a flooded bubble bath or jacuzzi together. And the text here says, I'm asking you not to share my name or info because I don't want to lose my job or be in danger because of these trolls, but I have further proof that she was absolutely not a one-night stand. This pic was from April 25th, 2021. Brett's friends are fully aware of the truth. They all hung out together for months. How are you going to let this man paint a narrative on Maria? Okay, this is pretty damning now. So, yeah, Maria might have led him astray initially, but this guy continuing to play dumb and try and paint to the internet that, like, she's just this crazy stalker who's obsessed with him and who tricked him into all of this when he's actively going out on dates with her. Even he himself earlier posted a picture of them in swimsuits with their arms around each other, posing together like a family. Like, bro also led her on. It's really starting to look that way. It feels like a guy who throughout his life wants to have his cake and eat it too. This is not a smart man. Okay. These are not smart decisions. And this is going to bring us to kind of our current updates. Like, I'll say this. If I'm Nurse Hadley and I'm dating this guy and we make this big realization, I'm thinking like, man, this is crazy, but I don't necessarily think anything wrong with my man, maybe, you know, maybe I'm also probably in a state of delusion, like a little delulu, where I'm believing everything he says. I'm like, oh, my poor man, he got tricked into this situation. But if I see that, if I'm Nurse Hadley and I just saw that, all of those photos of the two of them together, I'm gonna be a little sus of this man now. I'm gonna be a little bit like, I think y'all deserve each other at this point. This is like someone is lying to me. So videos start getting deleted and things start getting taken down. Things start to go very quiet. And so the only place that people are able to find out information becomes from the comment section. So we're going to look over a video posted by this girl, Brittany Held, who decided to do the labor for us of going through the comment sections of their videos and getting as much information as she could. So, one person comments on one of Nurse Hadley's videos with, "Why did he delete the other video of Maria crying?" She responds, "It was removed for harassment and bullying. We have the screenshots." Then someone says, "I'm so confused. So he took an at-home paternity test that Nurse Hadley provided? This can't be." Nurse Hadley says, haha, no, I didn't provide a paternity test. Brett ordered two and took them without me being involved, other than being in the same room. He took videos of him doing them. So Nurse Hadley is starting to catch strays here from people implying like, oh, well, she's a nurse, so she could have manipulated the test results. Like, it's not, like, people think that just because you become a nurse that you suddenly also become like some kind of master alchemist or something. Like, what? Let's skip through some of the other ones. Then someone says, girl, they say you got your kids taken away. If it's not true, I hope people start suing folks for defamation. To which Nurse Hadley says, I didn't have my kids taken away. I feel that's pretty obvious. I am suing her. Okay, so this is where it gets a little spicy, gets a little legal. I don't know if Nurse Hadley means she's suing Maria or she's suing Michelle. But what do you guys think? Do you think that might be grounds for defamation? Because we saw those claims earlier on in the stream. We saw Michelle claim she lost custody, and then we see a little bit of damage control after that. We see a little bit of like, okay, wait. She didn't lose custody. She just gave up the kid, and I don't know why. Leave me alone. We got a little bit of like a reel back, a little bit of backtracking there. But was the reel back enough to prevent getting sued for defamation? What do you guys think? Is there a case? Should she be sued for defamation? And I'm wondering like what the grounds are for like, what is the loophole of speculation? Did she need to make more clear that she was just speculating, that it was just an opinion? I don't know. This is very interesting to me. Okay. Someone says, don't you expect him to love your children that aren't biologically his? What does it matter if he's not the biological dad? Is it because she's Asian? Please say it's not. Oh my gosh, so now people are coming for Nurse Hadley for saying, wait, why don't you want him to love that kid? You want him to love your kids like they're his own, right? So what's wrong with that? Now, come on, y'all know that's not a similar, that's a false equivalence if I've ever heard one. Come the f on. Yeah, if I'm trying to create a blended family, ideally, yes, I would want my boyfriend, whoever, to care for my children the same way they would care for theirs, ideally. However, if I know my kids are mine. If I find out that this man's kid is not even his, first of all, I don't think that her intention was to say, oh, now you don't have to love that kid anymore. I don't think at any point we got that out of this, but I think it's fair to say, I think we should fight for you to be absolved of responsibility you should have never had to begin with. I think that's a bit different than saying, like, I would appreciate you taking on responsibility while being in my life. I can never keep straight legal definitions for defamation versus slander and libel. Well, I know the definition between slander and libel. One is written, one's spoken. But proving any of them is a little difficult. Sorry, I keep doing that. Nurse Hadley responds, I got into a relationship with him knowing he was her dad. Of course I accepted her. I don't believe it's my place to give my opinion on if someone should or shouldn't be a father to a child that isn't theirs, regardless if we're dating. I completely agree. It's a case-by-case scenario. I would just warn men that regardless of how you feel about whether you want to or not, the law will make you if you sign that birth certificate. There's so many different variables, and I listened to him weigh all of them for weeks before making his decision. My girls have my dad, my ex, or have a dad, my ex. I believe there's a difference between loving a child that's not yours, what I hope he does with my girls, and being in the role of mother and father. Absolutely, she's so right here. There is a man out there that recently found out that he has a 2-year-old. He was robbed of so much already, and he deserves the opportunity to be... Oh, I don't know if she was supposed to say this. I don't know if she was supposed to say that part out loud. There is a man out there that recently found out that he has a 2-year-old. So Either she's referring to a completely separate situation that is similar and trying to integrate it into the conversation to help with clarity, or she just revealed that Maria does know who the father is and that he's been contacted. And if so, Brett might be relieved. Brett might become absolved. Because if this man decides, oh shit, okay, I will step up. I don't think Brett should be involved as the father. I will take over. Then Brett could have his rights revoked. Very possible. Wow. Okay, where were we? All right, we have some more texts too that might give us a little bit more information.
There's still
Okay. This is still Nurse Hadley responding to messages. Commenter says, he needs to come out and tell people the pregnant woman is not the right Maria. That poor woman is getting threats. Not okay. Okay, so this is a new thing that Nurse Hadley and Brett are both coming under fire for, is that throughout all of this shit show media storm, a lot of not the bad Maria wins have been like thrown into the spotlight and being accused of being that Maria win. I will say this, the last name Win, spelled Nguyen, is like one of the most common Asian surnames, and Maria is one of the most common Christian girl names. Asians love Christianity. So you've got to imagine the number of Maria wins just catching strays is probably astronomical. And so they're both being put under fire here for allowing innocent people to catch these strays without ever making any clarifying videos. Not Maria. Nurse Hadley responds to this by saying, the other side requested an emergency gag order to silence him. His lawyer is trying to get it lifted, but for right now, he legally cannot speak about the situation at all. Okay, so this is where we start to learn that Maria and Brett are now in court. For what? God knows. Like I said, it's not that easy to just walk in and say, hey, it turns out that I'm not the dad, so can we just get me off this whole child support thing? It's not that easy, because any judge is going to say, well, you've already been in the kid's life for an established 2-year period, so it is now deemed in the child's best interest for you to stay. The only hope Brett has is of this other dad coming in and taking over the job. That's the only get out of jail card that he has. Now it seems as though they're in court. For what? I don't know. If I had to guess, probably completely unrelated to the child. It's probably just whatever defamation suit maybe, but the other side has successfully put out a gag order on Brett, it seems. And Nurse Hadley is using that as an excuse for why she can't clarify who is the right Maria. Maybe the process of elimination is deemed illegal, I'm not sure. Now it's getting deep here. Someone else says, so you, as a nurse who is supposedly the sweetest soul, should make a video about how Maria, the pregnant woman, is not the Maria. She is getting harassed and getting death threats. Nurse Hadley says, no one should be getting death threats, period, no matter who they are. We are not allowed to make videos about this due to a gag order. I'm sorry. And then people correctly bring up, I know what a gag order is. It doesn't apply to this. You can ask for your lawyer's input on a video about someone who is not a part of the case or the gag order. She's literally a bystander. So people are like, they're just not understanding why they can speak on some things but not others, it seems. She even says, so you can't make an 8-second video that says, please stop sending death threats to this Maria that's tagged. Why are you allowed to comment this but not post a video simply saying the same thing? She's starting to get a lot of flack, to put it lightly, right? Hold on, let me take a quick second to just reload my Restream chat, because again, it's not populating correctly, and it's making it so hard to keep up with the chat. Okay. This all brings us to Nurse Hadley's latest video.
Hi, I think I'm ready to address this search bar that's been on all my videos.
If you did not know, a few weeks ago, my
So the search bar that's on all of her videos is Nurse Hadley lost custody. So yeah, I can see why you might want to address that, because that is kind of one of the mysteries that we don't seem to have the full scope on, nor do I know if it is or isn't important, right? I guess that's up to you guys to determine if that information is important to you. Obviously, Maria's family finds it very important that this nurse, who either lost custody, but apparently it seems that that was not the case, that she lost custody, or voluntarily surrendered custody of her children. The impression being painted is that because it was because she couldn't handle one of their disabilities. I don't know if this is true or not. Obviously, whenever any parent opts to be the non-custodial parent when a child has special needs, it's probably very easy to make judgments and draw conclusions there. But I've heard so many different stories here, and I have heard about mothers choosing to surrender custody to the father because he genuinely has more resources and abilities for caring for that child, and it honestly would be in that kid's best interest. And as the Dadvocate, I can tell you, I'm not going to shit on a mother if she recognizes how good of a dad a kid has. She's not saying anything bad about the dad. She's saying the dad is more fit for this job than me. Okay. I don't know what's wrong with that. No one's gonna get, I guess some people do get mad at, a lot of people get mad at dads for allowing moms to take over the majority custody, you know, but for the most part, people try to give mom majority custody, right? Like, no one blinks an eye when dads are every other weekend dads, but when moms do it, they get so much hate. So I'm really not trying to throw any shade on Nurse Hadley for that, you know? Thormouth, again, I've been having a hard time keeping up with the chat, but wasn't there like something about you saying like you hate me and you're leaving or something like an hour ago, but you're still here? I don't know. I could have gotten that wrong, but it seemed like everyone was mad at you.
To address this search bar that's been on all my videos.
If you did not know, a few weeks ago, my boyfriend Brett went on to his page to share his story about a woman named Maria asking him to get her pregnant, and then him finding out pretty recently that the child is not his. We have been successfully keeping our relationship private for 6 months, and he did not mention me in his video at all. And then once he posted it, Maria's family did come on TikTok and out our relationship. I felt like if y'all were going to hear that I was in a relationship, it should come from me and not someone else.
This is really interesting because this is, again, the Streisand effect, right? She's claiming that Maria's family are the ones who outed the relationship, but I have scoured the internet trying to research for this video, and for the life of me, I can't find any evidence of Maria or her family being the first ones to bring it up, but there's plenty of evidence of Nurse Hadley calling up her friends to tell them about the situation. Let me just skip right to it, actually. Let me just bring that up. I wasn't going to show this part earlier, but now it's relevant. Hold on. And right here.
I believe.
I tag my friend, the Cliff Notes gal, because she likes to cover very drama big things on the internet. And I say, this one is wild. Approximately 34 seconds after that happens, I get a FaceTime call. You might recognize who from. Nurse Hadley. And she calls me about 11 o'clock last night. And I was like, hey girl, What's she doing? And she said, I have someone here that I think you might recognize. She pans over, and wouldn't you know it, this man is sitting next to her.
Yeah, Jen actually started this video by saying she felt like
So, yeah, it's definitely some Streisand effect going on here. She's like, oh no, everybody knows, and in fact, like, nobody knew, and if she didn't ever address it, probably would have continued to actually have it be a secret for a lot longer than she realizes. But at the same time, I'm not going to invalidate the fact that, like, this whole thing kind of outed their relationship in definitely not the way that either of them thought it was going to happen.
So I announced our relationship before I was ready to. And then from there, it kind of took on a life of its own as him and I stopped posting and people just started making up a lot of conspiracy theories and spreading a lot of lies. So I would like to clear up 5 that I saw most frequently. First one, I did not lose custody of any of my kids and none of them have a disability. I have my kids with me more often than not.
Oh my god, okay, I would be like livid then if people were just like saying all this shit. First of all, if I see somebody post online like the Dadvocate lost custody, I would be like, what the fuck? Like, I would also be on the phone with my lawyer, like, we're suing at dawn, right? Like, I would also be pissed, but then you go around telling people my kid has a disability, my kid doesn't have a disability. Now I'm like, so we have to fight physically now. Like, I hate to say this, but we do have to scrap. I'm kidding. I don't condone a physical violence unless it's consensual in the form of martial arts, in which case, let's bump and roll any time, okay?
I just don't post them on social media. 2, I did not tamper with any DNA tests or even touch them at all. That's a very serious thing to accuse a nurse of.
Absolutely.
3, I did not move my boyfriend into my home 1 week after meeting him. Here are some of our very cringy first texts. Our first date was on March 20th.
Okay, so just kind of proving that it took them a while to kiss, kind of. She's just debunking the claim that she like moved this guy in right away. Again, these things, it's like, it's so dangerous when you make these kinds of claims online because they are so easy to believe. You know what I'm saying? When a woman tells me like, oh my god, like, my ex, he just uses women as a place to live. We call him hobosexual. Like, I can believe that because I have met guys like that. You know what I mean? Just like women who monkey branch. There are people like that. Okay, so it would be easy to believe, but she's debunking that now.
Third date was 11 days later, and we had not even kissed yet. 4, Maria and I are not the same age, but even if we were, the context is what matters here. Brett and I were 27 and 31 whenever we met and started dating.
Okay, it sounds like some people are trying to give them crap because Brett made such a point of referring to Maria as this, like, much older lady, and people find that hypocritical because Nurse Hadley is older than Brett. But absolutely the context matters here. It sounds as though she is, sorry, I'm bad at, my math is not working here, like maybe 5 years older than him. And like, there's a small difference between like 5 years older and 10 years older at that point when you're like already in your late 20s. You know what I'm saying? So kind of a minor thing to tweak the details on. But I will say, Brett's addition of referring to Maria as like this much older woman, I feel like that was like him being a little bit of a baby about it, an unaccountable bitch baby. I'm just gonna be completely real here because again, Brett knew. He was old enough to know. Any man who thinks that they can just splooge inside of a woman and just kind of duck out of any parental responsibility is a dumbass. And the only reason he brought up Maria's age was to try and make it sound like she had some kind of position of power or authority over him, but like he was in his 20s. He was not a teenager. He did not get tricked. Like, You're old enough to join the army and carry a gun and shoot people. You're old enough to know that you can't just splooge inside of people without taking accountability for it. And that if you do, with some rando you can't trust, you paternity test before you take any claim of that child. Obviously, we're learning our lessons here.
Maria was in her 30s when she asked a 23-year-old she was not dating to get her pregnant, and I feel like that's a big difference. And
Yes,
the last one
it
is a
is.
conspiracy theory that I'm the mastermind behind this whole thing because I have a large platform and his video went viral. It is true that I was the one to figure out that Maria was lying, and as a nurse, I was always suspicious whenever he told me that she got pregnant immediately. But a few months into our relationship, we were sitting down with some friends who had just had a baby, and the baby had come early, and Brett said offhandedly, "Oh, my daughter was born on her due date." I resisted the urge for a few days, but curiosity did get the best of me.
This is actually really crazy that she thought to do this because, like, I think that anybody could gaslight themselves out of doing this, especially when you're the new girlfriend, like, and you don't want to come across as crazy by being like, what if that kid's not even yours? You know what I mean? Like, that could be a death knell for your relationship to even suggest that. And these little things like the fact that she got pregnant right away, that's not a red flag to me, because I'm sure plenty of people in the comments will tell me like that's exactly how they became parents. Was they literally, it was a one night stand and then boom, their entire life changed forever. It happens. Same with people saying like, oh, she claimed she was on birth control and then it failed. Like, my daughter was born using 2 forms of birth control, so I know that it happens, okay? Like, it does happen, but I don't know. Yeah, the math would have me a little thrown off too.
And I did put that due date into a online calculator to figure out the conception dates. The calculator gave me a window of when the baby could possibly be conceived, and I took those dates to him and asked him what he was doing during those dates.
Hold on, let me answer a question. Dadvocate, are you saying people who make dumb mistakes are automatically obligated? Yes, mistakes have consequences, and whatever those consequences are, you, the individual who did the dumbassery, are the one responsible for it, right? It's just 6 ways to Sunday. Like, at this point, like, I don't care that she was all these years older than him when she was like, if you splooge inside of me, I won't do anything about it, hee hee, because he was still legal drinking age, graduated, like, fully, you are an adult. You are an adult. You knew better. It's a 21-year-old girl who sleeps with a 30-year-old man still has to take full responsibility for the pregnancy, doesn't she? Why are we holding these young girls to higher scrutiny and more responsibility than the men? Takes 2 to tango, y'all. We gotta get better at this whole responsibility thing.
And he was on a almost 2-week guys trip during that time. So he ordered DNA tests from 2 separate companies that used 2 different labs, and they both came back with the exact same result, a 0% chance that he was the father. I don't think I'm a bad person for being honest with him about the conception dates, and I don't think it makes me some kind of sociopath or mastermind, as so many people have called me.
Hold on, Dylan. What was your dad joke? That's why I keep a nightstand on each side of the bed. Never have to deal with a one night stand. Okay, that's funny.
I had no way of knowing that this would be the outcome whenever we first started dating, and to be honest, it's caused a really big strain on our relationship. I had a few non-negotiables when I first started dating, and one of them is that I would only date other single parents because I don't want any more kids, and I don't want to date someone who doesn't understand the challenges of parenthood. We entered into a relationship
There are dating
as
apps
2
for
single
that.
parents and had an idea of what life would look like as a blended family if we ever got to that point. On top of the stress that comes with something as serious as this, our relationship dynamic has changed a lot as well, because now only one of us is a single parent. We have both questioned.
What do you mean now? It's so crazy to me that they're acting like because the biological aspect was removed from the equation, that the legal obligation was also removed. Like, again, unless this other father has already stepped into the picture and has already started the process of adoption and has already started the process of revoking Brett's parental rights, he's still a parent. He is still a parent, legally, in the court's eyes.
At times last few months if we should still be in a relationship, and I hate to admit that everyone wants their relationship to be perfect, but the truth is that it's been hard and we're still figuring it out, and that's why I was not ready to announce this publicly yet. But it is what it is, and we'll see.
Whew. So that's kind of where we're at now. Is Brett took a paternity test after about 2 years of being involved in his quote-unquote daughter's life. We'll say his naughter's life. Only to find out that that daughter was for naught. And somebody else's kid. He comes online, he tells us all of how he's been deceived by this woman from start to finish. Not only tricked him into having a kid with him, or with her, didn't just trick him into having a kid with her, but then managed to somehow trick him into continuing to raise the kid, despite that not being within the initial agreement. Right? And he decides to expose her for this. Unfortunately, while we have come to find out that it's not looking likely that this daughter is actually his, it's very, very unlikely that they faked this paternity test. It's probably not his kid. They're definitely in court. There are definitely some kind of gag orders in place. But is Maria really the only one who got exposed here? Because I feel like Brett kind of told on himself in a lot of ways here as well, right? It seems as though he's still trying to convince people that he was entirely the victim here. And it's such a weird situation, but it's giving me, what was it, Sweet Bobby? Is that the name of the documentary that just came out? Let me pull it up for reference. Yeah. So this movie just came out. You guys gotta watch it on Netflix. It's called Sweet Bobby. And it's all about this girl who gets catfished for like 10 years straight. And she keeps saying throughout this documentary, and like we all agree while we're watching this documentary, that this person who's catfishing her is kind of a psycho, kind of an asshole. Who does that, right? These are all thoughts that you keep having. But then she says, this could happen to anybody. And we're all watching like, no, the fuck it couldn't. Most of us could never be catfished for 10 whole years. So this situation is not something that could just happen to anybody, but would happen in way higher frequencies if people were as gullible as Brett. If people were and I don't know what his motivations are. I don't know what was going on in his head, but I think probably the grand majority of us here, when we were in our early 20s, if you are currently in your early 20s, if some random lady messaged you and was like, hey, do you want to start something of a no strings attached relationship where you impregnate me and then we just go our separate ways. Like, be so for real. You're telling me you would entertain that. You're telling me that even this person's older than you. She's like, please, I'm my biological clock is ticking. You're my only hope. Like, you're falling for that? Like, you really think that there's a position of authority? Like, I'm pretty sure this conversation was through text. So it's not as though she had him trapped in a room, Harvey Weinstein style. All he had to do was hit X on the window. And then he would have never been in the situation. Okay? Like, pretty much all of you guys are like, yeah, I would not do that. That's crazy. I don't think Brett had anything going on in his head. Like, that's insane to me. Even like the most horny dude would still be like, well, I don't want to get you pregnant. Like, can I still smash? I just wear a condom. Steve says, following the principle of first sin, I would say Maria is the main culprit. She committed paternity fraud on purpose. Brett made mistakes of omission, not on purpose. No, he purposefully ejaculated into her without a plan. At that point, like, you're being so chaotic, like, you're truly surrendering. You're literally giving your life to a woman every single time you ejaculate inside of her. Guys, I cannot stress this enough. Every single time that you recklessly blow your goof juice inside of a cooter, you are basically saying, like, here is every opportunity for you to control me from here on out. And y'all act like it's just the same as playing Bop It. Man had elevator music going on in his head. Truly. And like, Nurse Hadley seems like such a smart, wise, kind, adorable person. She can't stick around with this dude. I don't know, man. Maybe he's grown significantly from this experience. Maybe. But something is off here. This man seems too easily compelled. Does that make sense? Like, from a young age, he's been so manipulatable, so non-self-governing, and that's not a good quality to have in any partner. Man, woman, in between, non-binary, trans. You don't want a person who doesn't have control or governance over their own self. This is a man who's just hanging out and just lets women walk up and go, hey, will you impregnate me? And he's like, I mean, yeah, sure, if that's what you want to do. And then they're like, okay, cool. Anyway, do you want to start paying child support now? And he's like, I mean, yeah, sure, if that's what you want. And then they're like, okay, so do you want to just like let me move in for a couple of months? And he's like, I mean, not really, but yeah, sure, you can stay for the majority of the year. Like, this man does not have a single boundary to his name. This man has never once, like, really and truly stood up for himself before even meeting Nurse Hadley. Nurse Hadley is wearing the pants in this relationship. She is calling every shot, and he's lucky that she's a good person, because anyone that he ended up dating would have complete control of his life. Like, and I don't know, like, he seems like he's got a lot of great qualities. He seems like he knows how to build a house, seems like he's pretty responsible with money, conventionally attractive, but my fear is always with anybody who doesn't have the ability to set boundaries. Because here's another thing that I've spoken of a lot, is like, when people don't know how to set boundaries for themselves, they're so much less reliable, because they're people pleasers, because they want to just make everybody happy and just, well, it's what they wanted, so it's what I did. And like, those are the people who end up cheating a lot of times, end up in really shitty situations because they just couldn't say no. And even if they get to this place where the biological father steps in, takes over responsibility. He is released of any parenthood, and they ride off into the sunset. He's gonna do this again. Like, it's probably not gonna be a full-on kid again, but he's going to let someone fuck his life up because he couldn't say no. And I know that he's going to do it again because he's not taking any accountability. He hasn't made a single video acknowledging his own role in how this happened and how this got so bad. You know what I mean? This man needs to go to therapy not just to deal with the betrayal trauma of this bullshit that Maria pulled on him, but to learn how to develop enough confidence and self-governance to be able to trust himself. Because I don't know how he's living day to day having any faith in himself after this. I'd be like, man, is this the right decision? I don't know, because last time I tried to make a decision for myself, I ended up with a dropping $10,000 on some other dude's kid. So plus $750 a month. Don't forget that. Ooh. Oof. So that's where we're at. I am 100% positive that kid is not Brett's. Am I 100% positive that he's getting out of being a parent to this child? No. And what's crazy is, like I said, he signed the birth certificate, meaning biology aside, he is legally obligated to that child till the age of 18 or possibly higher, right? That in mind, this child's only 2. You've got 16 years left to civilly co-parent now with this woman. So you got to figure something out, right? Now you have to figure out how to course correct. Because we got this all out of the way. We got our anger all out of the way. Our betrayal all out of the way. You still have to raise a kid with this person for 16 years. Yep, so for some, it's up to 22, or for as long as they're in college. Living Ghost says, here's my hot take. If a dad pays child support and finds that it isn't his, the mom should have to pay back what he paid. I agree. Like I said, ideologically, in a perfect world, when paternity fraud is proven without a shadow of a doubt, which I think is a strong case here, then I do believe that parental responsibility should be immediately revoked. And I think child support should have to get paid back. I agree. I understand why they don't bother with it. They're just kind of like, whatever, we'll just cut our losses here. But I feel like it's only fair, especially when you committed paternity fraud on purpose. You lied to someone about that child being theirs when you knew it either wasn't or a strong possibility that it wasn't. It's also tough when, and I can speak to this, it's also tough when you're a white guy and you have had a child with an Asian woman, because, man, them Asian kids come out doppelgangers of the Asian parent. So often my stepson is his mom's clone, you know? And it's funny because, like, when I first met his son, I was like, you would never have any idea that my husband was his dad. Like, here's this white blonde man, and here is this dark Asian kid. And it really wasn't until, like, probably middle school that my stepson started to really look like my husband. But he's, for the most part, just like a dead ringer for his mom. So it's like, you look at this baby and you're like, I mean, this baby doesn't look like me, but That's because all the dominant parts, all the dominant genes came through, you know? There's not a whole lot of blonde Asians out there. I don't know, guys. I really hope that this is a lesson to you, that we can all learn a lot of things from this. If any woman tries to offer you some like pseudo sperm donation ship where they ask you to provide the sample the good old fashioned way, that's a trap, my friend. That's bait. That is absolute baby trap bait in the making. You will be responsible for that child. The only way to properly donate sperm is through a credentialed lab where you leave a sample by spanking it alone in a room to some dirty, sticky magazine, okay? That's the only way. Next up, if you have already been actively sexually involved with a woman and she falls pregnant, there are geriatric, no, that's not the word. Is it geriatric paternity test? Geriatric, where it's inside? Or is it just, because I know, no, that's not the right word for it. Geriatric means older. I'm thinking of geriatric diabetes. But you can get paternity tests while still pregnant. You can get in utero paternity tests. And I would just make it clear, you know, hey, if you don't have 100% certainty that this person has had no other partners, you need to make it clear from the jump, like, I intend to paternity test before I sign anything. I'm sorry if that offends you, but this is what I believe to be in our child's best interest. In the child's best interest, right? I think that every child should know 100% who their mom and who their dad is. You could even try to position, like, I believe in genetic testing to avoid hospital swaps. That's why I'm doing it. I gotta make sure our baby doesn't get swapped at the hospital. I'm looking out for you, baby. Use whatever you need to, but do it. But do it before you sign anything. Because as soon as you sign that birth certificate, you are the father. There is no going back. Signing that birth certificate is as official as it gets, okay? What are some other lessons that we can learn from this? I think those are the three biggest ones. I think those are the three biggest bridges we can't cross. Now, I do want to check my messages because before I went live, I actually reached out to Michelle Vu and I was like, hey, I'm about to go live with your cousin's story. Anything you want to share? But sadly, not yet. She did get back to me. She hearted my reaction. She said, hey, we definitely want to share Maria's side of the story, but she can't at the moment due to a gag order, but let me see if there's a loophole. I'll get back to you after my doctor's appointment. She was active 28 minutes ago, but I haven't heard anything back from her yet. For all I know, she's watching this right now and is like, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I think I've already said it before, but I don't think Brett is getting out of fatherhood anytime soon. You know, the only shot he has is this other father having paternity proven and literally stepping up and going, I fully want to take over. Brett can peace on out. But if that man does not show up and do that, no judge is going to let Brett get out of this. He's going to have to continue for the next 16 years paying for this child, raising this child, being involved with that child's mother and family. So this might not be the answer that you guys wanted. You guys probably wanted me to just like be pissed at Maria and hate on Maria. But because of the situation that Brett got himself into, his obligation is to try and make things as right and as easy with that family for his now claimed child as he can. You know, he's gonna have to try and smooth things over. He's gonna have to figure out how much or how little he wants to be involved, you know, because I will say this, a parent's rights can also become partially revoked after X amount of absence from the child's life. It varies state to state. So in some states, it's if you don't see your kids for 6 months, you lose any parental rights over them. For others, it's longer. It's if you don't see your kids for 2 years, you lose all parental rights over them. Very infrequently does this sever your child support obligations. So this is also where you'll see a lot of mothers will try to hide the child from the dad and then run out that clock so that they can be legally a single parent and have all the control, but still collect that money from garnished wages every month. I don't think that's what Maria did. That's not, I don't know if that's exactly what Maria was trying to do, but it's also hard to say because we're getting so many different stories. According to Maria's family, it seems as though she's been honestly trying to get him and keep him involved without ever trying to push him away this whole time. But according to him, it's very touch and go. She's very flaky. She's very controlling. She punishes him if he doesn't do what she wants. And it's a very toxic co-parenting situation. So he's gonna have to decide what route he wants to go down. Because what he could do, which I wouldn't recommend, you know, I don't know if it's tough. It's hard to tell someone what to do with a child that they've become obligated to that is not biologically theirs. It's really hard for me to say what the best moral path is, but if he's truly like, I know in my heart I'll never be able to love this child the way that I would love my own child because of the circumstances through which I came to be involved with them, then it might be best for him to just choose the child support and duck out of the kid's life. Just let that clock run out of not seeing the child and then pay what you need to pay to get it over with. Or if he decides it's too late for me now, I'm already, you know, stuck being this child's parent, then he needs to pick a reliable schedule so that they can just stick to something. It's not so up in the air of whatever Maria wants and just do it. What do you think you guys would do? Do you guys think that you would still try to just get out of the kid's life, even if you still had to pay a child support bill? Or if you're paying child support anyway, would you just say, all right, I'm your dad now, kid. Let's go. I'm curious what you guys have to say. Yeah, I feel so bad for this kid. I feel more bad for the kid than anybody too, Anthony. There's nothing that kid did to deserve this, that's for sure. I would never get into the situation in the first place. And that's exactly what I'm saying. That's why I'm like amazed that so many people have been like, Team Brett, poor Brett. And I'm like, Brett is like, Brett made bad choices. Brett did not fully get tricked. Brett was not like some innocent kid, okay? Considering I'm going through a divorce, I'm trying to stay in my youngest daughter's life, but communication is key, and my ex isn't very communicative. Yeah, we know what that's like. What you might have to do is what me and my husband ended up having to do was oh God, I feel like I've told this story a lot, but I wanted so bad to have like the dream co-parenting team. Like when I was first involved, like I wrote the mom this letter being like, I want us to be on the same team. Like, I'm not trying to replace you. Like, I want us to be friends. I want to follow your lead. Like, I was trying so hard to make things good, but it became very clear very fast that their goal was not co-parenting. Their goal was, I'm the parent and you will obey what I say. And that is when we had to have a court order to be like, okay, that's actually not the way this is going to work. And that's when we had to learn more about parallel parenting, which is if you can't co-parent, then you have to parallel parent, which is where you just parallel or parent alongside each other and just not rely on the other parent. And that's kind of what we ended up learning how to do. We became private investigators for everything. We have to call the athletic coach at the start of every season of everything and just ask, like, has the kid been signed up for anything? We have to find out about special events, call the doctors, make sure medication hasn't been changed, because none of that stuff will ever be communicated to us, even when we ask. Never. And so that's kind of just what we had to learn how to do, is gather our information, not relying on the other one. And that's what you might have to learn how to do, unfortunately, is you introduce yourself to everyone in the administration at the school, you shake hands with the principal, you shake hands with the athletic directors, and you tell them straight up, hey, I'm very involved in my child's life, but I am not told things on purpose. So if you could keep me in the loop as much as possible, that'd be very respectable. Like, I would really appreciate that. That's what you got to do, sadly. Living Ghost says, I don't believe I could walk away from a kid after I've invested time, regardless if it is or isn't mine. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Harden your hearts, you'll be fine. Brett was simply too trusting. And he just didn't care to do any research. You guys, you got to do the research, man. Just believing people, that's crazy. I wouldn't raise them, and I would fight to get child support removed. It's probably what they're trying to do, but I'm telling you, it doesn't happen. Paternity fraud happens every day in America. Of all paternity tests taken, anywhere between 20 and 30% of them have been found to be a not the father situation. Now, does that mean that 20 to 30% of all kids are being raised by the wrong dad? Probably not, because you have to remember that people taking paternity tests are already the most suspicious cases. If we paternity tested every kid, it would probably not be as high as 20%. But that's still a scary number, okay? And when you consider the fact that every day there is a dad finding out he's not really a dad, and knowing that if he's signed that birth certificate or been involved in that kid's life, it doesn't matter because he's still going to be perpetually paying for them. Here's another crazy one. Did you know that in France, you're not even allowed to do a paternity test? Yeah, they believe that it's just not in the best interest of the child. And I've heard this argument here in America as well. They believe that even if that child was not the real dad, well, we don't want to do anything about that because that's going to cause fatherlessness. You don't think a woman being so irresponsible with her body that she made it to where a baby being brought into this world has questionable parentage might have been the one who caused fatherlessness? Like, we just cast it on whoever ends up showing up at the end of the day. Just anybody can fill that role now. So this is why discernment, practicing paternity, protecting yourself, gentlemen, very necessary. I just don't get how a woman could do that. Wouldn't you live in constant guilt and fear? It's crazy you say that, actually. I just read a Reddit story that was, it was like, I think they deleted it, which is why I never read it on stream. But the whole post was, my husband's life, as he knows it, is about to change. And it's basically a woman talking about how, you know, yeah, the first two kids that she had were her husband's, but then she has an affair, and the third child is not the husband's. And 20 years later, that child decides, I'm going to do a 23andMe, confronts the mom and goes, hey, Mom, why don't I have the same dad as my other two siblings? And her whole post was basically like, well, getting ready to tell my husband and his whole life is about to change, so I really hope I don't get divorced. And I'm like, I personally hope you do. Because here's the thing about stuff like that. I mean, and oh my god, this is so much worse than cheating. Any kind of cheating that has an end result of an STI, an STD, or a pregnancy is the worst kind of cheating. Oh my god. You know, 20 years of that, and it's like, in her mind, she might be thinking like, oh, but it happened 20 years ago. But when these kinds of things happen, it doesn't matter. It happened when he found out about it. Like, it's all happening today for these people. It doesn't matter how much time has passed. Like, yeah, his life is about to be completely ruined as he realizes how easy it was for someone that he trusted fully to lie about something so serious to not only him, but to a child for so long. It's the gaslighting and the lying after the fact is always so much worse than the cheating. For a man, it's like losing a child. It's your whole, like, you start to question your whole reality. Like, how would you not go crazy after finding out your daughter of 20 years is some other man's child? Marcus says, constant guilt? Definitely not. They're soulless if they're allowing this man to take care of a kid that ain't his, and no. Yeah, I was definitely ready to hear out Maria's cousin, Michelle, on a lot of things, especially when she revealed how involved Maria and Brett really were. I don't like that we now know that Brett already lies about the situation. He already tries to warp the words to make things appear a certain way while omitting very important details, you know? So I really wanted to hear out her family, but unfortunately, it appears as though everyone seems to be aware of what Maria did. And if my cousin is messaging men and going like, oh, I'm getting old, please knock me up, I promise you won't have to take care of it, I'll just be a single mom, just please do it, there's only so much I can do to defend her at that point. Like, I'm probably not even going to try, to be honest, but I get where the cousin is coming from as far as like, I wish she would kind of take more accountability for the fact of like, okay, so my cousin did kind of fuck up at the beginning there, but this has gone too far. Like, you already accepted the weird situation in which she got pregnant. You already accepted fatherhood. Just get over it. Like, just quit dragging her. And again, we still have this other camp of like, no, he doesn't have to get over it. What she did was fucking crazy and very Sweet Bobby-like. And people who pull Sweet Bobby bullshit get Netflix documentaries made about them. OJ Simpson says, everything. Imagine, was the love even real? You question everything. And cheating is always a choice, never an accident. I know, I always just think of Chelsea Smallwood, of The Other Women and the Wife, who refers to cheaters as people who experienced infidelity. The way people use their rhetoric. What else did I have to show you guys today? I think that was mostly it. Oh, man. You know, we might have to wrap this live up a little early. I know sometimes I go until like 2:30, but some of you guys are going to be happy that I ended it. You're going to be like, oh, thank God it's only 2.5 hours instead of 3.5 hours. Because I'm not cutting this one up, y'all. There's too much to cut up and try to make into a consolidated video. This thing is crazy. but I will be keeping you updated as I find things out. But my strongest guess is that Brett's gonna have to keep raising this kid legally from everything that I know about the law and how these situations work, and he's just kind of cooked. I think in conclusion, Brett is fucking cooked. What do you guys think? I think that's all we can say. Nurse Hadley, you still have time to get out of this shit show, but Brett, you are cooked. You are well done, my friend. Very cooked. And women complain when we finish early. Can I be real with you guys? While I'm giving men some solid advice from a woman today in the chat, can I just say, I personally, and have heard reasonably from other women, that it's still better to finish early than to go for so long. Let's end on this note, fellas. We're gonna get real on the stream and we're gonna talk about it. Whoever taught you guys that we want you to be plowing away on almost autopilot for 45 minutes? No, I don't. Whoever taught you that was like porn brained out of their mind. Like, the goal of intercourse is not length of time, okay? It's not like to see how long you can possibly go. At that point, you're just making both of y'all's shit raw. There's probably very little natural lubricant occurring by that point. If you're doing your job, she should have already finished. You should have already finished, my guy. You can't bust after 45 minutes. You have a porn addiction. What's wrong with you? You can't bust after 45 minutes. You cranked it way too many damn times that day. It shouldn't last that long. It shouldn't keep going. Like, you have something going wrong up top if you are having a hard time finishing by that long. No, that's not the way, okay? I would literally rather you last 1 minute and go, give me a sec and we'll try again in a few minutes, than be tearing my shit up for a goddamn church service length. Hello? Let me read this. Vienna says, had an ex with orgasm very fast who always wanted sex but always finished before me. It made me feel like a god but also unsatisfied. With women, I think it's way normal for women to go first. Women have a lot more nerve endings down there. So women who are like sexually liberated and are actually there to have a good time having sex will probably come first and come multiple times. You're gonna have a harder time with women who are not, like, who have been shamed for sex their whole lives. Like, you're gonna have to work to, like, undo that shame. You know what I'm saying? Like, if your woman is having a hard time finishing, you probably have to do a little bit of deeper work of, like, building up her confidence, not only in how she views herself physically, but in removing any shame she feels from enjoying sex. I think that's something that really holds women back. But otherwise, like, yeah, you should be able to finish all that shit within a reasonable 15-minute window, not the church service length. I didn't say don't tear it up in church service. I didn't say that. Get your Martha Stewart on, girl. I had the biggest laugh when I saw a video of a woman standing up at a meeting of women and shouting, "Sorry, ladies, but it takes me a maximum of 3 minutes." Honestly, same. Why do women fake orgasms? Who cares? People-pleasing tendencies, things that they're taught through porn, the how we feel our worth is calculated. There's a lot of reasons. A lot of it comes down to the fact that, like I said, many women, like, I think we can all agree with this. Women don't have the same, like, women are not viewed the same sexually as men are. Like, when a man has multiple partners and is like hooking up with tons of women, he is praised way more societally for like his game and being able to accomplish that, for being a PIMP. Women are not like really allowed sexual liberation. Our body counts are shamed. If we express liking certain things, we're shamed. And like, what happens as a result of that? Like, men also get screwed over in the end because women don't end up enjoying sex as much. And I'm not saying like, well, the overcorrection is that women should just become massive sluts and like whoever they want to. Women and men need to practice way more discernment than they are practicing. But at the same time, everyone deserves to embrace their slutty side a little bit as a treat. You know what I mean? Like, no one calls men sluts. No one's ever like, oh yeah, you like sex, you're a slut. But anytime a woman actually likes sex, she's called a slut. Like, this is something that I've noticed. Like, you see this a lot in like porn. You see this a lot in the way that men speak to women. It's like almost every time a woman expresses enjoyment from a sexual act, the guys are always like, oh, you're such a little slut, aren't you? Like, why is she a little slut for having fun, but you're not a little slut for having fun? Like, no, women are never saying that to men. Like, when a man is like clearly enjoying himself, you never hear a woman being like, oh, you're such a slut right now. Like, why is it that we're sluts for actually having a good time during sex? It's always like kind of like put me off a little bit. It's a little off, right? So I don't know. I think that if men work a little bit harder at like helping their girl tune into that part in a safe way, you're gonna have better sex, for sure, for sure. I call guys sluts on the regular. Honestly, calling people sluts is really funny, and we should bring it back. Lauren, men's body counts are shamed as well, or shamed for lack of experience. That's true. That's true. It is, and isn't that so interesting? We're shamed for high body counts. Men are shamed for low body counts. That is very true. So weird. I want the lady to have a good time. Yes, men are sluts. They are. Men are sluts. I'm too much of an asshole to be getting laid. What are you talking about? Assholes get laid all the time. Assholes probably like are the primary, like they probably have the most real estate in the getting laid game, to be honest. I'm a slut. Same. Can we just reclaim slut? I'm gonna start all of my streams now with good morning, dilfs and sluts. Good morning, you slutty dilfs and slutty dilf lovers. That's so funny. Wait, it's bad to have a low body count? I thought this was golf. No, you're right. That's how God's playing this game anyway. Well, I'm also weird at the same time. I guess it depends. It depends. Like, I have to say, I personally do like certain asshole qualities, and I definitely like certain weird qualities. But then there's certain types of asshole and weird that I don't like. So it depends on what you're doing. This just in, a-holes have more real estate than nice guys. This just in, no one ever knew that before. This is brand new information. You learned it here, folks. OJ Simpson says, my plan is to put some points on the board early and then just finish confidently. Honestly, that's such a good strat. Dude, exactly. Like, you make sure that she pops off a good couple times, and then you're good. And then you're good, you know? Super low uterus training? Does the uterus have to be low? I think it's fine if it's a little high up there. Oh, man. Have you seen any vids where the guy challenges his girl to pretend to be a guy and do the thrusting? Yeah, and they film it, and so they can see the angle. Or no, that where girls do the thrusting. I've seen it where guys film themselves from the angle to see what they look like when they're on top of their girl, and it's really hilarious. But like girls thrusting? No, I've actually. That's really like okay. No, it's funny you say that actually. I have a really iconic story of there was this one time when I was very young, not like very young, but like my early 20s before I had met TJ, and there's this girl at this party who invites me to hook up with her. And I'm surprised for several reasons at this point. I'm surprised because she's actually like really hot and in like a very lipstick lesbian kind of way. Like I was not expecting this woman to be a lesbian at all. Then I'm surprised because she's interested in me and I'm like, "You're this hot and you're interested in me?" But then she says very very like candidly to me. She says, "I want to use a strap-on on you." And I am like so ignorant. I'm so naive. I'm so like blissfully in wonder. And I go, "You use a strap on people?" And she goes, "Yeah. How do you think I got these abs?" I can never, like, that's such a core memory. The way she was just like, "Yeah, obviously, look how shredded I am." Like, truly, though, like, the thruster is doing so much work, as it turns out. I thought that was so funny. Any updates with the lady left at the altar? That's a good question. Let's see if we can find her. Where is that old redhead? Rachel Siegel. Here we go. Let's see. Do you mind sharing how long you were engaged? There's a couple update videos, but I don't know if she tells the whole story. Let me see. Yeah, let's do a couple updates real quick on that before I go. But I do have to pee real quick. I've been sitting here drinking coffee and stuff like that. So let me pee and then we'll do a couple updates on the lady who got left at the altar, see if we can learn some new information. And you know, if all you wanted to do is come here for Brett and bounce, that works too. But I will come back with a cat or dog of some sorts. So that's motivation. Okay, give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. I return bearing cat. As promised. He's such a little baby chunk. Would you like to stay? The answer is no. It is a big no. Thank you for using your mochi emotes. You know what? Let's get Miles in here too for good measure. Miles! I'm about to destroy this nice white blouse. Yes. Who's your good baby? Oh, who's my good puppers? We love this doggo. Where do you want to take me? That's it? You just wanted attentions. We got the Miles emote going. They love you. You have no idea that hundreds of people are watching you and loving you. Did you know that? You want to see him do some tricks? We're going to do some tricks before we do some final updates. Let's do a trick. Show off everything. Alright, you ready to dance, Miles? But you gotta be good. Don't this up, okay? Alright. Sit. No. No. Sit. No. 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 Sit. Sit. Ah. Shake. 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 Now bark. 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 Loud bark. Oh boy. We're working on it. We're working on it. He actually performs the tricks so much better when I don't have the treat. But if he can see it, he's just like, shake, bark, give it to me. Like, just loses his shit. Okay. So some of you were wondering, I covered before that this bride right here, bring her down a little bit. Rachel Siegel went through something absolutely insane when she literally got left at the altar on her wedding day. I think this was the OG one. No, which one was the OG video? Let's see. Man, I think no, these are old. Here we go. Yeah, it's here's the original one. My name is Rachel Siegel and my fiance just left me at the altar. So we covered a lot of these videos. She doesn't really talk a whole lot about anything in these, but let's see if we get any more of an update. This one, let me show you guys what I'm looking at here too. This looks like just an unboxing. My older brother and sister-in-law continued to spend time with me so I could be with my nephews too. Let's see what this is in response to. This is a pivotal moment, but it might not seem like it. Keep glowing. What's this one? Your 90 days to a better you starts today. Is that all it takes? Is that... I know that they say time heals all wounds, but is that like the official prescription? It's just 90 day away? 90 day pain away? I don't know, man. I think getting left at the altar is probably gonna leave one of those lifelong wounds.
The brand Safia just sent me an email and said that they saw my video and would love to send me a new dress to create new memories in. And
where's the playback speed?
Makes me so emotional is because trying on wedding dresses was such a special experience.
Okay, so she's getting a new
and when
one.
I tried on my dress.
Okay, so I'm just trying to see if we can get any more context. Okay, so that was one of his groomsmen. Huh? It's muted? Okay. Traveling for work, so welcome to the Renaissance Hotel. I wanted to share something. I have permission from my mom to share this, even though she hasn't seen it yet. It's a really tough decision to make. I love my dress a lot, didn't want to take it off. She's talking about the dress. After the trolley ride, we made it to the reception. The trolley ride we saw on video. The band was there. Surprised my mom with a dance with her. Okay, so she's talking about partying together. Takes serious guts to post these. I know, what a wild time. It's, what do you do when you get left at the altar? You just keep having your wedding? And she was like, yeah, that's what I picked. She's like, I'm just gonna keep partying. We paid for it after all. She dances.
Life could be worse. No, not really. This is the worst.
This is the worst.
This is the worst.
Okay, I just got to the airport, but I want.
Where's your outfit from? That's not what anyone cares about.
I just came home from Mobile, Alabama.
Okay, this is an ad.
I really hope you know how incredible you are, because you've been.
Okay, and then really inspirational stuff. I don't know if we're getting any tea. I don't know if we're getting any full story. This is actually really annoying. Like, don't you know that your trauma is supposed to be my tea? How dare you just try to casually move on and get brand deals and then just show us clothes instead of all of the traumatic backstory? This is so rude and selfish of you.
Today I have to pack to leave and go back to Los Angeles where I live. And
okay.
I just keep avoiding it. I have to.
Okay, so we might get some more information here. Caption reads, this is another extremely vulnerable share that I've really hesitated posting. I have a hair mask in and I am in utter shambles. I feel like I look like a monstrosity and I'm only supposed to show you my best here. That's what I've done on the internet for over a decade. It's extremely hard to show you all these moments, but the influx of responses from some of you who say it helps you heal makes me feel brave enough to share. Also, the messages of support truly have been so helpful. This was taken a week ago. I did get on the plane. I did take the other next step. I am in pieces, but I am moving.
I have to leave for the airport in like 2 hours and I just can't bring myself to pack. It feels impossible. It feels really sad and it feels like I can't do it. Like I feel like I can't do it because it feels like that means this is actually my real life.
Yeah.
And I have to move on and I have to start over and I just feel like I can't do it. But I really like my new coffee mug I got.
So now here she is, packing up.
Today.
I'm traveling in Missouri right now for work, but I thought we could do an unboxing. Welcome to my hotel room.
Okay, so this commenter says, someone please tag us when the story time is up. If you straight up just do some fucking brand unboxing instead of talking about what actually happened, that's exactly what happened. Ma'am, now I'm very annoyed and starting to feel like none of this even happened, which is crazy because, like, it doesn't seem like more likely that you would stage all of this just to sell stuff, but like now you're only reacting to comments that directly have to do with the drama to sell stuff. And the worst part is that, like, there's not even a disclaimer on here. She didn't even put that it's an ad. And it's an ad. So she's not even doing it ethically, which, like, if you're not used to being a creator and you don't know how to do that, that would be one thing. But you've been doing this for years, so...
Good morning, everybody. I wanted...
Okay, caption says, another tough share for me. I'm trying hard to resist the feeling of being judged or scrutinized for what I'm doing. Oops, I'm judging and scrutinizing. or the way I'm processing all of this, but alas, here I am to share with you. It took me a few weeks to go back to the space, but ultimately I knew I needed to rip this band-aid off. Although I'm still not comfortable staying here right now, I'm taking steps to try and be here when I can and to organize and regroup. Thank you everyone who is here and sharing their experience with loss and grief as well.
Wanted to check in, and I hope you can hear me okay. Today I'm gonna go home for the first time. My former partner and I have lived together for a lot of years. I'm really anxious, but I know it's time to take this step and start to move forward and rebuild.
Summer gone, now.
Okay, so now we got some licensed music. My friend who I've been staying with took me at first to the House of Intuition to grab some healing essentials. Gotta crystal up. You'll never make it through this hard time in your life if you don't spray your entire body in sage. We all know this. Oh shit, she grabs the sage. That's so funny. Get your mood ring on, girl. This will clear your broken heart. She stayed outside in the car as I experienced my new space for the first time without his things here. I grabbed a change of clothes and some other essentials. Felt like that was enough for the day and left. How lucky am I to have my friends and family carry me through and bring me a smile back time and again. True. Okay, so she's just like partying it up. Part 2.
Today was harder than I thought I could have. It's harder than I thought it was going to be.
At least it wasn't Tish Hadley.
For a lot of years. And
that's
being detached from it for a few weeks, you forget.
Tish Hadley's a great sponsor.
You and your partner are embedded in every single thing and in every single piece of your home. This feels like a mountain to climb, to reorganize a space that is.
So it sounds like she gets to keep their shared house, but now, like, she left so that he can move out, and now she's back and all of his stuff is gone. I think, is that what's happening? Or she moved into a new space and she's just not used to stuff not being there. Either way, yeah, I can only imagine. I never lived with a partner before TJ, so every breakup that I had, it's not like there was much more than like a box of each other's stuff to return. So I can only imagine this would suck.
It's been a certain way for years. I feel so overwhelmed with how to handle this and what to do. If anyone has any tips or tricks on how to get through this, if they've been through something similar.
Hey, yo, anybody got any tips or tricks for how to deal after you get literally left at the altar after spending 10 grand on a wedding? Any old tips and tricks? Like, God, I hope that's not relatable.
I want to stay in this home. I love this home.
Okay, so she is moving out?
Love your suggestions if there's something like a home edit type of business or service here in LA. I would love to have someone.
Okay, so she is keeping it.
Organize this space and maybe make it feel like my home again. I feel like I've shared so much with you all, and it would be important to share this piece with you all as well. I needed to rip this band-aid off and come home and change my clothes and get started on my new life. This is terribly hard. This is terribly painful. I don't know when it's going to get easier.
So I don't know if we'll ever find out why that happened. And it's not our business, I guess. Just because she made this all of our business doesn't mean that, like, we are owed every single detail. But I think we all would love to know. I would love to know what exactly gets someone. Okay, you know what? There's a couple more videos. I just have to, like, find a way to get her to talk faster. That's all. Oh my god, I got these new headphones and I don't know why I keep not being able to put these on. Okay. Let's see this one.
I had recently taken a new job, so we had to...
This says, sorry if this has been answered, but did you have a honeymoon booked, and will you still go take a friend or family member? Okay, that was not as interesting of a question as I thought it was from afar. Let me see what other questions she does reply to. What is this one? Can someone explain how she can smile and look like it's the happiest day of her life? Anyone else would be broken and devastated after that happened. Let's see. Nope. No additional reasons. We'll never know. Flamingo says, so I got two theories here. One, she's staging this whole thing for brand deals and money. Or at the altar, though, huh? That's an interesting one. I wonder if she still even has, like, videos of the ex, because there used to be ones, and people came running there. They're like, this is the guy, huh? Yep. There's still videos of him up there. So people know exactly what this guy looks like. I mean, they dated for years and years and years. That's fascinating to me. But even if he, like, fully explains to her in detail all of the reasons that he decided to walk out on their wedding day, it's like, does it even matter? Because it really doesn't matter, because you're still the a-hole. I feel like we went over some hypotheses or potential justifications when we originally covered this, and I think we agreed that the only way that it would be okay to actually dump someone at the altar on the wedding day is if you found out that she cheated and this was your way of exposing her to the whole family. But since we know that's not what happened, then none of the reasons that he provides to her for why he chose to do that matter. He just sucks. He just is the asshole. You know what I mean? Because if she's annoying or too controlling or too neurotic, or, you know, he changed his mind about whether or not he wants to have kids, whatever it ends up being, bro, you knew that. You knew that before the wedding day. You knew that probably weeks before the wedding day. Why in the world did you not pull out any sooner? You know? He's the asshole unless he just found out. But that's what I'm saying is, like, we know that's not the case. We know that's... Let me just put those anywhere. We know that's not the case. So, it doesn't matter. He sucks. And, like, here's my question. Would you ever trust someone who you knew left their spouse, like, at the altar? It's a very Keith Bryant thing to do, isn't it? Have you heard about this whole... Is it Keith Bryant and what is it? Something chicken fry? Let me look this up. I know I've had a few people who have been wanting to have me cover this. Zach Bryant, that's right. Keith Bryant is a country artist, but I was mixing up my Bryants. Yeah, Zach Bryant and Brianna Chicken Fry were dating, and now everybody's mad at him because this is now, like, the third time that he's, like, fully proposed to a woman and started planning their life together just to, like, abruptly end it with barely an explanation. Maybe we'll cover that on tomorrow? Should we do a stream tomorrow? I feel like I have so much to do tomorrow. Thursday? Should we do it Thursday? I won't have time Thursday. Friday. What do you guys think? When's a good day? Oh wait, isn't Friday when Caleb Hammer streams and you guys don't want me to be stuck with Caleb Hammer time? If they had proof their prospective spouse cheated, then yeah, I'd give it a shot. That's what I'm thinking too. If they had a really solid reason, I'd be like, damn, okay. Any day you're free is good to me. Yeah, Thursday I think I have something going on at 1 p.m., so I probably wouldn't be able to do a full stream. How do we know for sure she didn't cheat? I guess we don't, but considering everyone seems to be on her side, I would be really surprised. But as soon as I do get an update, I'll let you know. Sadly, nothing much today. All right. Anyway, I think we did what we came here to do. today. We covered the whole Nurse Hadley, Brett Fairley, Maria Wynn situation. We drew our conclusions. We failed to get a proper update here. What's a Caleb Hammer? He's the guy who does the financial audit show. It's a really good show if you like seeing entitled silver spoon-fed Nepo babies finally taught about finances, but it's one that I can only watch so much of because I usually end up rage quitting, to be completely honest. People being stupid with their finances when they're given every opportunity to succeed from wealthy parents who bail them out of stuff are like perpetually one of my biggest pet peeves in this world. Just because, like, I come from a Slavic immigrant family that grew up in Detroit, and I was told in middle school, no one's paying for your college. If you want to go, you got to get in based entirely on your own merits. And that's all I ever knew. And then I just had to spend like the next several years of my life dealing with these fucking silver spoon Nepo baby ass kids whose entire college experience was bought and paid for, and then they still fuck it up. And I'm just like, no respect, man. More like idiots who learn about money. I honestly don't think anybody learns anything on that show. I think that's the reason I end up rage quitting so many times, is because in every episode of Financial Audit that I've watched, Caleb Hammer will make it like so exceedingly clear to them, like, this is how money works. This is what you're doing wrong. These are your habits that are going to make it so that you can never have a successful life. And they're just like, yeah, but like, my mom sometimes pays for that bill, so I'm fine. And I'm like, it is time to go to sleep. Like, it is time to nap. You need to tell us more about growing up in Detroit. Well, come on down, kids. What do you want to know? Do you want to know what it means when people throw a pair of tied shoes over a phone wire? Do you want to know what that means? It means that's where the local drug dealer lives. Do you want to know what it means when suddenly your neighbor's entire mattress and all of their worldly possessions are on the front lawn? It means someone else got evicted that week. Just a day in the life. Just their children's teddy bears. I just got to watch so much poverty. The couple that would literally be breaking down the door with a crowbar before committing potent DV that we had to watch terrifyingly from behind a door, the constant gunshots. What you want to hear? You want to hear about how my mom used to get drunk and kick us out of the house and then lock the door for hours and just make us deal with it from a very young age? I mean, I grew up real pure Detroit, okay? 313, right off 8 Mile. Just, you know, but you learned a lot. You learn a lot about how to be tough. It builds character. Philly is very similar to Detroit. Incredibly similar to Detroit, for sure. How about not stopping at traffic lights? Oh my god, yeah. We have a rule in Detroit called no cop, no stop. And it's exactly what you think it is. And it's survival. Also, never, ever flash your lights at a car driving at night that does not have their lights on. They will drive you off the road and kill you. They will beat your ass because they're driving around at night with their lights off for a reason, because they're trying to do gang violence, and you flashing your lights at them, not cute, you're getting hit. Like, that's, never do that in the hood. Ever. I never got anything I ever wanted when I was a child. Yeah, we were those St. Vincent de Paul kids whose name and interests were put up on the Christmas trees at church. And our gifts were all donated. They'd be like, what are you interested in? And I'd be like, Neopets! And they'd be like, cool, here's Yahtzee. They asked my brother, what are you interested in? He'd be like, Super Mario Bros! And they'd be like, here's a pack of collectible baseball cards. my sibling just not a jock at all, like disappointed as How are you not Generation X? I think I'm like somewhere between X and millennial. I'm 32, so I'm like that happy middle ground. Want in one hand, shit in the other. Let's see which one fills up first. That's exactly right, my friend. Wanting is cool. Working gets shit done, though. Aw, buddies. Well, Miles says it's I'm the same age as your soon-to-be ex-wife. Dude, I actually heard something crazy. I heard something crazy recently, and it's if you're 32 and still single, don't worry. You're not a failure. You've just statistically avoided your first divorce. Let that sink in. I saw another one that was like Madonna is 77 and her boyfriend is 23. Who was the other one? Cher is in her 80s and her boyfriend is also in his early 20s. Don't worry, sis. Your boyfriend just hasn't been born yet. Oh no. Oh man. But yeah, I mean, truly think about this because the average marriage only lasts 7 years. So it is true, like, based on the age that average people get married to their first divorce, yeah, by 32, our dating market is like people who just wrapped up their first divorce. That's crazy. And if you're 32, also statistically, I want to say it's about 70% of people our age are already parents. So if you're still dating at 32, get ready to either date a divorcee or become a step parent, or both. Or both, okay? I'm 64. You're all kids. Welcome to the cool kid table, though. Honestly, if I could give any advice to younger people, though, it's we have to prioritize making friends with people who are a good 2 or 3 generations older than us. Like, truly. Because I slept on this fact for way too long. My whole 20s, I spent with other people also in their 20s. And you know what we did? We're stupid together. But now that I'm in my 30s and I'm starting to make friends with people in their 40s and their 50s and their 60s, they have so much better information for me. Like, my conversation in my 20s were like, can you believe this person is dating this person? My conversations now are like, hey, did you know that you can actually file an insurance claim on that and save thousands of dollars? Or, hey, have you tried filing your taxes this way to save this much money? Or, hey, did you know about, this method of fixing this? Like, y'all, you need older friends. They know what they're talking about. They will save you money. They will help you fix things. They can teach you stuff about history, like wars that elephants fought in. Why are we talking to young people? They don't know shit. They're out here knocking up randos thinking they won't have to pay child support. Young people don't know anything. I used to have much older friends. Now it's all over the place age-wise. That's good, though. Old people make me laugh. I've always made friends with older folks. Youngest divorce guy I've seen is 19. He really speed ran that shit. Just celebrated my 25th anniversary of turning 30 this past year. You know you've become an adult when buying one of these three things excites you. A vacuum, a lawnmower, or a snowblower. Dude, such facts. Because air fryer is so 25 years old peak, but like once you can afford an honest to God snow or leaf blower, you are like, I'm truly living my life. Like this year, I bought my first ever Bissell floor cleaner, and I was like, this is better than a Ferrari, baby. Like, let's go. I wish I had enough land for a riding lawnmower. Soon to come. Soon to come. Me and TJ one day, we'll have our chickens. We'll have our chickens and we'll eat them too. Oh man, you guys have me yapping for so long. Okay, I know I'm very bad this week. I'm supposed to be posting my live schedules on Sundays, but I got so caught up in stuff. Just absolutely caught up in stuff. So, when will my next live be? I think I'll either do one tomorrow and Friday, depending on how much I get done today, or just tomorrow. Because I feel like Fridays are bad days for streaming. One of the two. So, okay, for sure tomorrow. For sure, let's plan on seeing each other 11 a.m. EST tomorrow. And then maybe again Friday. And then if you're a YouTube member or a patron that's a member of $5 or more, there's already early release access for you in the bank to watch some videos. But if not, we're going to be dropping some more this week, so look forward to that. Okay, I think that's the end for today. Go ahead and click like, push that button, then subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you have not already. I have had the bestest time with you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, until soon, bye.